Hey loves, it's your girl Mariah Sincere, and I'm back with another bomb live. This time it is viewers' choice. Okay, I am going to talk about whatever y'all drop in the comment section, and hopefully, if we get enough people in here, I will have some people come up and give your opinions about whatever topics we're discussing. So, this is totally viewer led. I'm not gonna lie. It was a lazy day today. It's been raining a lot here in Medellin. This is one of those days where I just want to like cozy up on the couch, put my sweatshirt on. So, yeah, viewers' choice today. I'm talking about the stuff that y'all want to hear, the stuff y'all want to talk about. So, whatever you want to talk about, drop it in the chat, get a conversation going in the chat. Remember to hit the like on your way in here. That helps people know that I'm on live. Guys, today for the lunch hour, I got some blueberries and yogurt. I really don't want to eat, but I'm trying to hit my protein goals. Okay. So, with that said, I'll be waiting on y'all. I feel like it was just a slow news day. Honestly, there was nothing that came up that I wanted to talk about. I would talk about the tariffs, but that's not interesting. And honestly and truly, I kind of feel like I'm watching what's going on with it, but I don't feel the tariffs because I'm not here in Colombia. I'm not in the United States. I'm in Colombia, but in Colombia, they already have a lot of tariffs on imported goods. So if you want to buy anything that's imported, you're going to pay a premium. They have a very like protectionist economy. So I mean, that's the norm. Most countries have a lot of tariffs on goods and they try to support their own manufacturing or their own production. The United States really does kind of have an open door policy that most countries around the world don't have. And because of it, people have taken advantage of that and they go manufacture their goods in other countries and then they know they can come sell it in the United States. So, I mean, with that said, though, I don't want to be insensitive because I know there are a lot of people who have businesses that rely on imports from China. And I think what the tariffs on China are over like 100, it's like over 120%. So yeah, I seen somebody say Jasmine Crockett is mad because she can't get her eyelashes no more. I'm not gonna lie, I used to wear them eyelashes too, but hers is just off the chain. They just super thick. So again, y'all hop in the comments. Y'all let me know what y'all want to talk about. Until somebody say something, because I don't want it to be dry up in here, I'm gonna pull up my Instagram feed, my saved Instagram posts, because I be saving news stories on there. Oh, this is something I can talk about real quick. Do y'all believe that? Hey, what's up, Jamal? Viewer's choice today. Viewer's choice. Good to see you, brother. So yeah, if you got something you want me to talk about, bring it up. While I'm waiting on y'all to get y'all topics going, I will bring this up. Did y'all see that people were saying that Michelle and Barack Obama were, allegedly getting a divorce, and it's alleged that he's dating Jennifer Aniston. That's another one that's been going around. So I saw this post today and I saved it. This was on the Shade Room. Earlier this year, former First Lady Michelle Obama was absent from a few political events where her husband was in attendance. Her absence caused divorce rumors to erupt. I mean, her absence and Obama popping out with Jennifer Aniston. And now she's addressing those rumors. While speaking with actress Sophia Bush, Michelle spoke about being in a season where she is making decisions that benefit her best. That sounds like a woman ready for a divorce to me. That sounds like a woman on her Tia Mowry. When speaking about making the decision on what she decides to do and not do, she said, "The interesting thing is that when I say no, for the most part, people are like, I get it and I'm okay. That's the thing that we as women, I think we struggle with disappointing people, So much so that this year they couldn't even fathom that I was making a choice for myself, that they had to assume that my husband and I am divorcing. Ma'am, when you are married to a former president, you don't get to make decisions for yourself, like not go to Jimmy Carter's funeral, or you can't do that. Or not attend certain events, or for example, when Obama went to Trump's inauguration, like, ma'am, you gotta go. You gotta go. You don't This is not like choosing myself soft girl era. I mean, they've been out of the White House for a minute. She can come to one of these events every now and then. So to me, that makes absolutely no sense. Again, that sounds like divorce talk to me. She continued to explain the narrative society creates and your decision doesn't fit certain stereotypes. Then it gets labeled as something negative and horrible. I don't think it's horrible. I think it's irresponsible. I think when you sign up for certain things, you have certain duties to uphold, especially when you are married. You know, they knew what they were getting themselves into, but honestly and truly, I think it's just the show. It's just the front. I've seen Michelle have an attitude with Obama plenty of times. We've seen those like kind of we've seen those kind of, what am I trying to say? When nobody's supposed to be looking, her kind of be snappy with him. I think what it is they have an image to uphold. People want to believe in black love, right? Um, so I don't know. I even if they don't get divorced, you can't convince me that that is a couple that is very much in love, but they'll play the role. That's fine. A lot of people playing the role. It's not just them. It's just, ma'am, if you're gonna play the part, play the part. That's all I'm saying. One of my favorite bloggers, Voodoo Doll, who's way out of pocket on Carmelo Anthony. Who is Voodoo Doll? Let me see. Is she on YouTube? Let's pull it up. Voodoo Doll. Hold on. Is this, where can I find her, Jamal? Jamal, let me know where I can find her. I'll react to the video. See, now I'm being messy. What she say? Okay, until you respond, let me find something else I saved. Oh, y'all. Okay, Terrence K. Williams. Do y'all know who that is? Do y'all know who that is? Oh, I shouldn't have liked that. That's messy. That's messy. I'm gonna go to his profile. This is the one that was talking about Jasmine Crockett eyelashes. Give me a second. Can you drop the link to one of her videos? Because I just looked her up and all these shorts about voodoo dolls came up. Give me a second. Okay, so he is a comedian. So y'all should be able to see his page, but apparently he's been to the White House. I feel like I heard about him. That wasn't the one that was praying. Or was that an actual pastor that gave that prayer on Black History Month? Sorry, just dealing with something, and that's why I ain't responding. Is that what do y'all know him like that? Terrence Gangster Williams? Is that who he is? Okay. Look, here's a picture with him and Donald Trump. Y'all, it seemed like all the brothers are supporting Donald Trump. Like all of them. 50 Cent. Who else? Floyd Mayweather. People are to the point where they don't care anymore what anybody has to say. I didn't know that Terrence Williams was in foster care, which is very inspiring. Y'all know I was in foster care. So to see somebody like him make it out of foster care into the White House just doing comedy. And I think he grew up in foster care. I didn't grow up in foster care. I was in foster care during high school. And I almost didn't make it out. But in 4 years, oh my goodness. Okay, so this is what he posted about Jasmine Crockett. He said Jasmine Crockett's eyelashes are from China, so she is very upset. Trump literally put a 104% tariff on Jasmine Crockett's eyelashes. Thank you, President Trump. Oh, he messy. What does commenter say? Also, her crooked wig is from the Maxine Waters collection. Let me tell you something. I don't want to make it seem like I'm making fun of Black women and the lashes and the wigs. I used to wear the strip lashes. Now I get extensions. Okay. I have some pictures that I will show y'all where these lashes look real ghetto, but ain't nothing wrong with strip lashes. It's just that Jasmine Crockett looks like she takes 2 sets of strip lashes and she takes the bonding glue that you use to put tracks in to do quick weaves, and she glues them eyelashes together. She double them up and then she glue them on, and she glue them on with the bonding glue so they stay. Like, I guarantee you she don't take them eyelashes off when she go to sleep. You know, them lashes be on for a good 3, 4, 5 days. Yeah, that's what she look like. Oh yeah, I heard about him. Yeah, he roasted the hell out of her. Y'all know me. I'm not a fan of Jasmine Crockett. There are some women on the left that I do like. Nina Turner. I'm a huge Nina Turner fan. Um, but Jasmine Crockett, that's not my cup of tea. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, did y'all hear about what happened in the Dominican Republic? We praying for the DR right now. So, in the Dominican Republic, let me find the. Oh, do I have a post on it? There's a nightclub in the Dominican Republic, and the roof collapsed. I wasn't even gonna talk about this. Did y'all hear about that? The roof collapsed, like it was something at a Final Destination. Okay. Oh, here it is. Y'all, I'm about to share my screen. This is sad, actually. Make sure y'all can see it. Y'all, look, the whole roof at this nightclub in Santo Domingo collapsed, right? And there were so many people, about 100 people, probably more than that, that were in the hospital over this. There were a lot of casualties. So if y'all see people from the DR sad and making sad posts in Spanish right now, it's because of this. A lot of people, and y'all know it's an island, it's small, many people know people. Yes, imagine you're out partying and the roof just collapsed. And this was like a local place. Like, there were a lot of local people who lost their life. So we're gonna send prayers up for the DR right now. Those are not left other than Turner. Those are not the left other than Turner. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, technically speaking, Jasmine Crockett is not the real left. We don't have a real left party here in the United States. Let's be clear. So I guess when I say the left liberals, and I guess you wouldn't necessarily call Nina Turner a liberal. Honestly, I could see Nina Turner under the right conditions switching sides and going for the right Republican candidate. I don't think she voted for Kamala Harris. As a matter of fact, I remember seeing her doing an interview where she said she wouldn't be voting in this election, or at least she wouldn't be voting for either of the major candidates. Dems are not the left at all. Yeah, we don't have a real left, but what people refer to as the left, definitely not mainstream Dems. I'm a progressive. No, she's a progressive. Yeah, she's a progressive. I think the real like progressive movement on the left definitely got co-opted during the 2020 election when they ran Elizabeth Warren. Like, there's a real difference between the people who were the Bernie Sanders progressives and the Elizabeth Warren. Like, if you got fooled by them running Elizabeth Warren to thwart Bernie Sanders, then that is like the fake progressive movement. Y'all understand? Like, the real progressives left after the 2020 election. They were done with the Dems. Like, the real progressives peeped what was going on with the whole Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren situation. The real progressives peeped that she was a snake to begin with. Yeah, Nina Turner campaigned for Bernie Sanders. I used to love Liz Warren. I was never a fan of hers, honestly and truly. So before Bernie Sanders ran, I didn't have an opinion of her either which way. Much like I never really had an opinion of AOC, to be honest. Now I cannot stand listening to her. But then when she ran in the 2020 election, when she was too scared to run, and Bernie ran because Elizabeth wouldn't. She was too scared to run against Hillary, and then she ran to kind of split the progressive vote. And then she pulled that move where she was losing, like she had been losing the whole time, and she stayed in just long enough so that Joe Biden can get the upper hand on Bernie, because she split the vote during that Super Saturday. I was like, yeah, she a snake. There were so many times during that election that she was like throwing shade at Bernie and he never responded. And I'm like, ma'am, if we're on the same team here, what are you doing? Tulsi was my second choice. I like Tulsi. Okay. I want to find this voodoo doll. Voodoo doll YouTube. Is her name Voodoo Doll? Is it literally just Voodoo Doll? It's not coming up when I'm trying to pull it up. Again, guys, this is viewer choice. So if you're watching and you want me to talk about something that's been on your mind, something that's getting on your nerves, something that you want to hear my perspective on, I would be more than happy to oblige today. Because honestly and truly, I don't have anything to talk about. Oh, did y'all see this? Do y'all know who Senator Kennedy is? If y'all don't know who Senator Kennedy is, he is Voodoo Doll TV. Okay, I'm gonna pull it up after this Senator Kennedy clip. Okay, if y'all don't know who Senator Kennedy is, he is a senator out of the state of Louisiana. He is funny. Actually, we got to talk about him. He is a rising star in the Republican Party. And again, I would say I'm more independent, but I like that Senator Kennedy. I do. He's very working class, America first. He's of that ilk. You know, he's not a rhino by any means. So this is what he said about AOC. Let me make sure y'all can see
it. And Bernie.
I consider Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez to be the leader of the Democratic Party. She's entitled to her opinion. I'm entitled to mine. As I've said about her before, I think she's the reason there are directions on a shampoo bottle. And our plan for dealing
you didn't
with her,
plan that out. We got to hurry.
our plan for dealing with her is called Operation Let Her Speak.
No, hold on. Let me find it. I gotta find this, y'all. He made a commercial. I gotta pull this commercial up. Y'all are gonna laugh. I found it. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry, y'all.
Violent crime is surging in Louisiana. Woke leaders blame the police. I blame the criminals. A mom should not have to look over her shoulder when she's pumping gas. I voted against the early release of violent criminals, and I opposed defunding the police. Look, if you hate cops just because they're cops, the next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. I'm John Kennedy, and I approve this message.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start by brain dumping everything I need to get done in a list view.
State Treasurer John Schroeder.
Y'all, I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Hold on. What? When I heard that, I'm just thinking he's going to say something regular. When that man said, call a crackhead.
Violent crime is surging in Louisiana. Woke leaders blame the police. I blame the criminals. A mom should not have to look over her shoulder when she's pumping gas. I voted against the early release of violent criminals, and I opposed defunding the police. Look, if you hate cops just because they're cops, the next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. I'm John Kennedy, and I approve this message.
What would you say are the specific top 3 policies that have acted?
Call a crackhead is wild. You're red meat to me. You are Law and Order girl. You feel like I'm a Republican? You know what it is? I just feel like certain things just got too out of hand these past 4 years. Y'all understand? Like, I would never be a person before 2020 that was like, defunding the police is actually kind of stupid. Like, I was a defund the police girl. I was a BLM girl. I was all of that. And then COVID hit. And then you had illegal immigration getting out of control. Then the crime rate just skyrocketed, and you could see it visibly. The economy went to hell. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe them Republicans ain't all that bad. Like, maybe they were talking with some sense. I don't have to agree with them on everything. Like, you're never going to get me to agree that outlawing abortion is the right thing to do. You're never going to get, I'm never going to agree with a Republican on that. I can agree that it shouldn't be like just for any reason all the way up until the week before you're supposed to give birth. Yeah, but like, I'm a hard pro-lifer. No, pro-choicer. What's up, DJ Batman? Call Pookie and T. I mean, but did he lie? Y'all, he is funny. He is funny. Police are not productive in Chicago. I believe in community governance. I'm a son of a Panther. Yeah, I mean, to me, community governance only works when people are actually policing their own people. You get what I'm trying to say? So it's kind of like this. If you have a culture where we sweep a lot of poor behaviors under the rug and we try to act like we don't see certain stuff going on, then how can you community police? community policing for Black people used to be, don't call the police on your uncle that touched your daughter. We just gonna either not talk about it as a family, or he can come ask for forgiveness and it's done. Call Ray and Pookie. Call Big U, not Big U. COINTELPRO ruined it. Okay, I'm going to be so honest here. I might sound stupid. I do not know who COINTELPRO is. I have heard this word so many times. I have heard Alex Jones use it. And I don't be knowing what the hell y'all talking about. Keep embryos alive. Okay. Hold on. Y'all. I feel like we got to see some more of the good senator. He funny. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to pull up his best moments. Y'all, something is wrong with him. He has the best one-liners. Senator Kennedy, funny moments. I'm trying to think. Y'all, I just went down the rabbit hole. And just watched so many of his videos so that I could laugh. But he really be speaking common sense. So he doesn't believe that, J.E., is that his initials? Is that man's initials? Anyway, y'all know the dude with the island. He doesn't believe he actually, unalived himself. This ain't the one, y'all. This ain't the one, because he had some where he was like really going in. But this man is funny. I remember he had a video where he was like, it seems like the conspiracy theorists are up by 1,000. Like he be going in on them in Congress. Hold on. COINTELPRO is a government program. So is my channel going to get shadow banned because I'm talking about them? COINTELPRO is the government agency that dismantled the Black Panther Party in the 60s and flooded the Black community with substances in the 80s. Oh. CPRO basically dismantled the modern B family. Wow, I'm gonna have to look into that. For real. Okay, so now I'm gonna look up what you were talking about, Jamal. Voodoo Doll TV. Again, guys, this is viewer's choice today. So if you have something you want to talk about, drop it in the chat. Okay, hold on. Is it Voodoo Doll TV Reacts? Okay, I think this is who you're talking about. Let me know, Jamal. I'm about to share my screen, and you let me know if this is who you're talking about. Is this who you're talking about, Jamal? Let me see if she has a video that I can react to. Now, okay. Okay, so she's doing a video, and her perspective is that it seems like she's going to try to argue that Carmelo Anthony was defending himself against Austin Metcalf. So far, guys, y'all know I've already done 2 videos on this. I did my initial response based on the information that we had out at the time. And yesterday, I actually had a reaction video. I actually did a reaction video to a self-defense attorney. Like, the dude specializes in self-defense. He pulled up the actual police reports. So we were cross-referencing the stories. He pulled up the Texas Penal Code. So if you were on my live yesterday, then you know there's no way in hell Carmelo Anthony walks. You know it's not happening. And I'm from Texas too. So I know how certain laws work down there. I knew my state wasn't going for that. That whole, well, you know, somebody pushed me, so I have the right to jab them in the heart. That's not how that goes in Texas at all. Yes, we are a stand your ground state, but all stand your ground means in the state of Texas is that if you go to court, the jury cannot consider the possibility that you could have walked away from the confrontation. But just because you don't have to walk away also doesn't mean that you have the right to use lethal force. That's all stand your ground means in Texas. But in terms of what Carmelo Anthony did, he better pray to God that they don't throw the book at him. We also established that the whole narrative that the twins tried to jump him is not true. So far, the witnesses who initially were there on the scene have not even brought up the other brother getting involved at all. The only thing that they've said is that he grabbed his brother after his brother had got unalived. He was holding on to his brother, trying to stop him from bleeding out. But nobody has yet to say that the other brother, Hunter, even said anything to Carmelo Anthony. That has not come out yet. Also, I talked about the fact that there was a false statement put out by Frisco PD, which, guys, y'all got to use y'all brain. Frisco, like a police department, when they have an ongoing investigation, is not going to be giving out certain details and information too soon. You had people make a fake Frisco PD statement, and Frisco PD had to come out and say, we never said that. That is not real. So let's see what she has to say.
The game has completely changed on Instagram. If you're like me, it's fun to grow on Instagram.
A Memorial High School teen and his twin brother confronts an innocent young man and unfortunately lost.
So already off top, she lying.
Lost his life. Now social media is complaining a completely different picture, and today we're going to get to the bottom of it. Is y'all ready to talk about it? Let's jose.
Come on, Blaze.
It's a beef for me.
Wow, 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 B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for
a man has a family. That man has people that care about them all the time, and he did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid.
It says 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony identified himself as the suspect when police arrived at Frisco ISD's Kirkendall Stadium on Wednesday morning. Now, the court documents say Anthony told police with his hands up in the air, quote, "I was protecting myself." Now, walking him off the track, Anthony told police he put his hands on me and I told him not to. Anthony also asked if the victim, Austin Metcalf, would be okay. Frisco police say officers located a knife in the bleachers and that there were many, many witnesses. We just got our hands on this arrest affidavit. We're going to have much more on these new developments tonight at 10 and, of course, on WFA.com. But right now, you guys, more tributes are pouring in for 17-year-old Austin Metcalf tonight. And the pizzeria where he worked alongside his family is honoring his memory and stepping in to help.
At Halo Pizzeria in Frisco, it's all about family.
They're just not employees to us. They're very much family.
And when their own are hurting, they grieve together.
Honestly, I've never had to deal with something like this so close to home.
Carrie Ordaz, the restaurant owner, is in disbelief.
He's a missed.
And are providing counselors for students. The track meet much, Carrie created a GoFundMe to support Megan and Hunter through funeral and legal expenses, and she plans to do a fundraiser at Halo soon too.
Calling out to your kid and...
Okay, I'm trying to get to the part where she gives her opinion.
Anthony was confronted by these.
He put his hands on me. I was protecting myself, even asking another officer.
Okay, hold on. I want to point this out because this was in several of the police officers' accounts. Notice that Carmelo Anthony said he put his hands on me, not they put their hands on me. Not one time did he say to the police officers, they were trying to jump me. They put their hands on me. He was trying to explain the situation, right? Because at this time, he's freaking out trying to figure out if he can use self-defense as a way to get off on this. So he has not mentioned initially on the scene, right after it happened, that anybody tried to jump him. This is made up. I wonder where they got this from. What y'all talking about? Yes, they did. They were problematic in a good and bad way. Neither man was perfect. They took, oh, y'all having a whole conversation. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jamal. Yeah, I mean, it's Frisco. And I told y'all I'm from Dallas. I've been to Frisco plenty of times. It's in North Dallas. Yes, it's a white area. It's a very white area. They have in recent years started immigrating, and Black people have been moving further north, and Black people have been moving to Frisco to get away from Black people. I'm just telling y'all what it is. I'm telling you what they say. I'm telling you what they tell me. So yes, this is definitely shocking for them. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Now keep your coins if you need them. Okay.
If what happened could be considered self-defense.
What do you expect? If you're caught, the best thing you're going to do is try to lie your way out of it.
Metcalf's father telling me self-defense is not a reasonable excuse.
The truth will come out. There were too many people that were there that saw what happened. My own.
And thus far, of the witness statements that I have heard, they're all saying the same thing. And none of them are saying that the twins tried to jump Carmelo. And this is going to be one of those situations, if there's no video footage, which it seems like it happened so fast, there probably wasn't any video footage. If there's no video footage, they are going to go by the witness statements. They are going to corroborate those stories. And if they all sound the same, which thus far they do, It's not giving self-defense.
Own son told me
in Frisco. I'm at and stabbed Austin.
Is
Hold on.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Voodoo Doll TV back with a quick little joke, and I want to talk to you guys about Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, two high school teams from Frisco, Texas, and I want to discuss with you guys a little bit about what's going on. So I spoke to you guys on my live the other day about this, and the allegations have been going crazy about what happened to Austin Metcalf on the day that he was on a live, and I told you guys that the media was going to try to spin the narrative as if Carmelo Anthony, who's the black kid on the right, he's just an aggressive thug, and this Austin Metcalf guy or kid, I'm sorry, is just some innocent bystander. And the facts of the matter are this.
I haven't heard the media say that. If you stab somebody in the heart, you're aggressive. Like, the media doesn't have to try to spin it that way. Like, he stabbed this boy in the heart over a seat. I don't care what happened before that fight. I don't care about any pictures they posted before then. I don't care about what activities they were involved. Just the fact that he did that is enough to make the vast majority of people be like, something is severely wrong with this boy. And I don't understand why people don't understand that. That is not normal. Again, I'm saying this is somebody who used to work with kids and they used to fight and argue every single day. That is not a normal response.
This young boy, Austin Metcalf, approached Carmelo Anthony, sitting under a tent in a public park on public bleachers. And no matter if his school set up a tent over said bleachers, it was not his place or any other person's place to have him move because no one owns public property. However, Austin Metcalf and
you know what? This is so hypocritical to me. And I'm going to tell y'all why it's hypocritical. Some people might get mad, but I know my people. I know how y'all act, especially black women. Love black women. My mom's a black woman. My best friends are black women. Love black women. And it ain't all of us. But I know how y'all act over a seat. I know how y'all act in public when you got seats somewhere and somebody is sitting in your seat. I know the attitude y'all cop. I know the way y'all talk about people. I know the way y'all hug. Can you move this? Or I was sitting here. Or save my seat. I know how y'all act over seats. Stop playing with me. I know how y'all act over seats. So now all of a sudden it's, well, it's public property. Nobody owns it. And you shouldn't say anything to somebody over a seat. I bet not never hear y'all address not a nary person over a seat. Furthermore, this was in their team's tent. So from what the track boys have been saying, I brought up the Cartier family yesterday. They ran track. So from what they were saying, a lot of the times they'll leave their phones and things like that in their tents. So they don't want people over there, unless they got invited. So unless you got a friend or a homeboy that's with you, they don't like people being in their tent because they don't want their stuff to get stolen. Like that is actually like the proper etiquettes for these track teams and these tents. So people trying to make it seem like he was wrong or anybody in that tent was wrong for asking him to leave is crazy. It's not even his school's tent. The tent was for those students at that school. I don't understand why we don't like rules, regulations, and boundaries. It doesn't matter if it was raining outside. His school was competing at the track event. Go to their tent.
His twin brother confronts Carmelo Anthony and a fight ensues. And then all of a sudden, unfortunately, Austin Metcalf is unalive. Now,
you're going to be exhausted because when you're dealing with people who are seeing something through a racial lens, because I don't want to call them all dumb, because I think it goes beyond that. I think anytime they hear black versus white, automatically they get in their ego. It's like something super deep rooted. Automatically they get in their ego and they're so willing and ready to jump on any narrative. Nobody has to present them with facts. Even if you present them with facts, there are plenty of people who, if they were to read those police reports or go through those police reports like we went through it yesterday, instead of them saying, okay, I got it wrong, or I jumped to conclusions, or I was giving false information, they'll say, I just think they're leaving stuff out. Okay, well, and then they'll continue to repeat the same information that they have no proof or evidence of. It's really interesting behavior.
This is the thing. I understand how the media is, and I understand how social media is, and everybody's all racist online and everything. So everybody's going to try to flip the narrative. They put negative photos of this young boy, Carmelo Anthony, out there.
Yeah, normally, I've been in that area. People up there are really nice. You're more likely to get treated away by the black people who have been up there for a long time, who might have only been the one or two in the neighborhood, and now they see you and they like, oh baby, it's gonna start. Like, for real. But when you go up to that area, the white people are pretty cool. A lot of them are out of towners too. Like, a lot of them are moved in from California. You got this new crop of people that have moved in from other states. So I don't know. I've never been treated badly when I went to those areas. And they have diversity too. Like, a lot of Asians live up that way. Like, and when I say Asians, it's a mix of Asians, Chinese, Indians, Africans.
The press to kind of mess up his image and also make him look like the aggressor, when the facts are from the brother himself that they approached Carmelo Anthony and then a fight. And
no, ma'am, in the eyes of the law, Carmelo Anthony is the aggressor. That's just a matter of fact. According to Texas Penal Code, Carmelo Anthony is the aggressor. When you invite somebody to violence, touch me and see what happens. When you say stuff like that in the state of Texas, it don't matter if that person proceeds to put their hands on you first. You are the one who is trying to incite violence. I told y'all I got caught up like that. For those of y'all who weren't on the live yesterday, this girl made me mad. Again, I'm from Texas. This girl made me mad. I wanted to fight the girl, but I didn't want to deal with the legal consequences that came from that. So what did I do? I got in the girl's face and told her, hit me, B, and she did. And we proceeded to fight. When the police came, I was the one who was considered the aggressor. I was the one who incited the violence, even though technically she made physical contact with me first. But let's keep it a buck. I had every intention of inciting the violence. I just wanted to be able to say she hit me first and claim self-defense. I knew what I was doing. Carmelo Anthony knew exactly what he was doing. He knew he wanted an excuse to stab that boy. Stop playing. Let's stop playing dumb and green here. That's not giving somebody that was afraid. All these narratives of, oh, the twins are bullies and he's scared of for his life. If you're afraid of these big bad bullies, why are you going into their vicinity where you don't have to be? Y'all don't go to the same school. Your school's got a tent. You could stay far, far away from these boys if you wanted to. Why would you go put yourself in their vicinity alone? It's because all of that is made up, and he wasn't scared of those twins. And I highly doubt they had any beef prior to this.
Sued. Now, there have been rumors that apparently they were jumping on Carmelo Anthony. Remind you, Austin Metcalf is
Again, these are rumors. She's on here talking about rumors. Y'all heard the police reports yesterday. Nobody on the scene said that. Carmelo Anthony has not said that those boys tried to jump him. The witnesses have not said that those boys tried to jump him. This is all made up stories and rumors circulated through social media like telephone, and people being in their ego and wanting to believe it.
a twin brother, and they're not small boys. So if this young man, Carmelo Anthony, was confronted by these boys, then I totally understand why he would probably feel he have to defend himself. Now, I don't understand, or I won't ever condone why he would take someone's life, and I don't even think he intentionally did so. However, what I will say is this. I think that the media is painting this narrative so that this young boy doesn't get justice, and so that this young boy, Carmelo Anthony, is
justice. He's the one that did the stabbing. What does he need justice for? Austin Metcalf needs justice. The media doesn't have to paint him as a bad actor. The fact that he brought that knife to a school function already is a bad look. And y'all can act like that's normal behavior to bring knives to school functions. I'm from Texas. I used to be a teacher in Texas. They know they can't do that. He knows he can't do that. So that alone makes him look like a bad actor. Him stabbing somebody in the heart over a seat makes him look like a bad actor. Him stabbing somebody in the heart over a non-lethal fight makes him look like a bad actor. The media don't have to do much to make him look bad here. It's not very hard.
Is found guilty just because of the skin color, and that's just that. Now, since all of this has happened, Austin Metcalf's parents have been doing press conference after press conference. They have GoFundMe's. It's a whole lot going on, and it's all a bunch of clear tears all over the internet to get sympathy from the fact that I believe
clear tears. This is their son. Matter of fact, Austin Metcalf's dad said that he forgave him initially. He was like, I forgive the boy. But now that they've been lying all over the internet and people are making it seem like Austin deserved his unaliving, yeah, now the parents are upset. And what are clear tears? We're all human beings. Would she not cry if something like this happened to her son? And unfortunately, this is national news now. So they're speaking up about it, just like she's speaking up about it. They don't got the right to speak on their son because they're white people? Is that what she's trying to say?
Austin Metcalf was a thug, and I believe that he confronted Carmelo Anthony in hopes or in maybe attempts to bully.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. This is projection. This is projection. Okay. We have not seen any evidence to suggest that Austin Metcalf is a thug. To be clear, the only I'm not gonna say Carmelo Anthony is a thug because I didn't know him like that. I haven't heard his teachers come out. I haven't heard too much information about him come out. I'm judging him based on the action that he did on the scene that day. So she's saying that the media is trying to paint him as a thug, but she's trying to switch it and paint the victim as a thug when there's no evidence to suggest that. It's doing tit for tat. That's what I'm saying. It's tit for tat. It's not about what's right or justice. It's about revenge.
Him And unfortunately for Austin, it did not work in his favor. So what I want to do is play a bit of the clips from the parents to show you how the media is trying to spin a narrative that Austin Metcalf was this innocent little boy who just...
They're his parents. Is she crazy? They're his parents. They are going to speak highly of their son, especially if he was doing stuff that he was supposed to be doing. Especially if they were proud parents. That's not the media spinning a narrative. Something really be wrong with these people in the head. I don't know if it's like genuine. I don't know if she genuinely believes the stuff that she's saying, or she's just trying to get an emotional reaction out of her Black viewership. I don't know.
Just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and bullied by Carmelo Anthony, when the facts are, according to reports, they were the ones who approached Carmelo. But watch how the media spins this and how much coverage the family and friends get about this situation. They want everybody on their side, and they want everybody to believe that their son was just attacked out of nowhere. And I don't believe that to be the case. But you guys, take a look at this footage from...
Nobody said he was attacked out of nowhere. They got into an argument. Carmelo Anthony didn't control his emotions. He brought a weapon with him and he used it. Okay.
From the father and mother. Check it out.
Las pulseras son 100% silicona, lo que garantiza suavidad, resistencia y calidad en la marcación y la pulsera.
My son is gone, and I don't really have words. I've tried to figure out what I was going to say, but he's just going to be so missed.
The pain is still raw for the Metcalf family after 17-year-old Austin Metcalf was killed on Wednesday morning at a UIL District 11-5A track meet in Frisco.
I think he was extremely smart, always in the box. He just came to him real easy and just him playing with football as well just made him just a great person overall.
Here's what happened according to witnesses and the police report. Metcalf got into an argument with the suspect, 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, over a seating dispute in the bleachers. Metcalf told Anthony he needed to move from under the team's tent.
He always was one to step up and be the person that would do the right thing. And he was doing the right thing by saying to this gentleman that you're not supposed to be in this tent. This is because they have personal items there.
Anthony opened his bag and reached inside and said to Metcalf, "Touch me and see what happens." Metcalf reportedly grabbed...
Okay, does that not seem reasonable? Does that not seem reasonable? They have personal items there. It's a track meet. That's consistent with what the Cartier family said. You don't go to their school. This is their track tent or whatever. Other people probably wanted him to leave too. It's just Austin is the one actually telling him to leave. Y'all ain't never told anybody to move from around y'all stuff before. Y'all, like, here's what's crazy to me. People act like his first step should have been go get the police. For what? Why? Why would my first move be to go get the police when I see somebody in an area they're not supposed to be in, when I could just say something to you? But then y'all will be saying he's being racist because he went and got the police. No, he was trying to address him like a reasonable person and tell him to leave. So the boy defended his turf and Carmelo felt some type of way. That's all. Yeah, he got in his feelings. He got in his ego.
Grabbed Anthony and told him to move.
He knew he wasn't supposed to be there. He was just a tragedy what happened.
That's when Anthony pulled out a black knife and...
Okay, so he said he knew he wasn't supposed to be there. That's what the brother is saying. So I don't know if this is some type of rule. Maybe that will come out. Maybe this is some type of rule that opposing sides are not supposed to be in each other's tent.
And stabbed Metcalf in the chest once before running away. When Anthony was taken into custody by a Frisco police officer, Anthony reportedly confessed to the crime, saying, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to," adding that, "I was protecting myself." And
again, notice that Carmelo Anthony says He put his hands on me. And I'm not just saying that because of this news story that was in multiple police reports that we listened to and went through yesterday. Multiple officers said that Carmelo Anthony specifically said he put his hands on me, not they. He didn't make any mention of getting jumped. He didn't say anything about the brother Hunter. And he didn't say anything about him getting previously bullied. Okay, let's continue.
And then asked the police officer, is he going to be okay? Metcalf died in his brother's arms.
I'm not at that point to forgive and forget, but eventually I will. But I pray for his family. I pray that they understand what we're going through as well.
This whole community has really wrapped their arms around us. And
you know what's so sad? And I said this yesterday, that family has not reached out, not one time, to apologize for what happened. Him saying, like, his brother is the one that's unalived, and he's on TV saying, well, I hope they can understand what we're going through too. What? It's insane that he even has to say that.
If I could say anything to the nation, I would say to make sure that you just hug your babies tight, because you don't know when the last time you get to do it.
And in a statement released by the Metcalf family this afternoon, they say their focus is now on laying Austin to rest. Meanwhile, I can tell you that Anthony remains in the Collin County Jail with a $1 million bond. Back to you.
All right, Alex Boyer.
To ask you this one question, like I had mentioned, the self-defense argument made by the suspect. What's your reaction to that if that's used in court or used?
As a defense attorney, they're going to try every avenue. That's their job. The truth will come out. There were too many people that were there that saw what happened. My own son told me what happened. There was never a punch.
And so far, all of the witnesses' stories are matching.
Even thrown. So I don't care. There was never a phone broken. We've never had contact with this individual.
That's another lie that was going around. That Austin took his phone and broke his phone. So many lies. And nobody that was there on the scene when the police initially came and took statements said they saw any of that stuff. Not one person. And if you remember when we were listening to the police reports, a lot of these witnesses were, I don't want to say a lot because there wasn't like a whole bunch of them, but several of them were not even interviewed together. They were interviewed in different locations. I remember at one point, 2 of them were taken into the locker room. So they were away from everybody. And everything is still sounding the same.
Ever. So unless you were there, I don't appreciate all the gossip and all the mistruths that people are speaking at this moment.
Okay, so those were the parents for Austin Metcalf. And I want to show you guys something because the father is saying that nobody knows what really happens. And honestly, he only has the word of his other son, which could not be the truth. Like, we have to be.
Okay, he brought up that his own son told him, but he doesn't just have the word of his own son. I'm sure he's heard from other people that were there. The police have heard from other people that were there.
Honest about these things.
This is so slow, especially when the police report is out. Ma'am, you could just go do your research. Honestly and truly. If you don't want to read it, there are people on the internet who will read it, ma'am.
He could not be telling his father the full truth, but neither here nor there. It doesn't really matter because someone.
Hey, Skinny, what's up? Good to see you, brother.
Came out on behalf of Carmelo Anthony. I want to say he's either a friend or a fellow student, and he had something to add to this situation. And this is what he had to say. And when you get a different perspective than what the media is giving you, it gives you.
So she pulled up this social media post. Is this a real post? Just like they made a fake Frisco PD post, and Frisco PD had to post a statement saying that is fake. That is not from us. So, like, she's pulling up another post. I saw this post. I saw this being reposted several times on my Facebook feed. So this is her evidence. This is her proof. Forget the police reports. Forget the witness accounts of the people who were there. This social media post is her proof. And we don't even know if whoever posted this actually even knows the twins or Carmelo Anthony. So it says the twins didn't just ask him to leave. They tried to jump him. Again, y'all heard the police reports yesterday. And not one of those police reports did Carmelo Anthony mention anybody tried to jump him. As a matter of fact, he said he put his hands on me. He doesn't even say that Austin Metcalf hit him, like punched him. He doesn't even say Austin Metcalf punched him. That's another thing that's wild to me. And that's kind of what the dad was saying. Like, y'all are going to see there wasn't even a punch thrown. So this sounds like this might have been a shove or something, or a push. That's not going to go over well in court. Nobody that was there has said that the twins tried to jump him. Not one person. And again, these people were interviewed separately. Before attacking him, they tried to take his belongings and broke his phone. Nobody on the scene said that. This person, whoever this was that wrote this post, I'm pretty sure we don't even know if they know him. But if the issue was that this boy was in a school's tent that he wasn't supposed to be in, I'm sure this person wasn't there. The twins are known, and stomped on it. The twins are known bullies. So ask yourself, if a 200-pound linebackers came at your child, what would you expect them to do? This is crazy because all three of them play sports. Carmelo Anthony plays sports too. And again, this is not even true. And yet, despite everything, the media is trying to destroy Carmelo's name. He destroyed his own name when he shoved that knife through the boy's heart over an argument over a seat. They keep posting a picture of him with an airsoft gun. I don't care about that picture. Not even a real firearm to manipulate public perception. I saw that picture. I don't care about the picture. But this is one thing I'm going to say to these young boys. Y'all need to stop posting these pictures with these fake AK-47s trying to portray a lifestyle that you don't live. I will say that. Because again, if anything happened and you got to go to court, people can and will pull those pictures up. Skip some more. It gets even better. Oh, trust me. I'm a get there. Let's talk about who Carmelo really is. A respectful, well-mannered young man. If he was respectful, he would have left that tent when he was asked to leave, because it wasn't his school's tent. A respectful person, even if they would have been irritated, first of all, wouldn't have went up in there, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he went in there because it was raining, but he's an athlete. Let's be clear. He's an athlete. He done played football in the rain before. So if they asked him to leave, he should have just left. Even if it was raining, go walk to the tent for your school. It's not going to hurt you. It's water. A 4.0 student with multiple college offers. I don't know whether that's true or not. I'm sure he's an athlete. The college offers thing might be true. I don't know. The 4.0 student thing might be true. I don't know. A kid with zero criminal history, not even a blemish. A son raised in a loving home by parents who taught him right from wrong. If his parents taught him right from wrong, why did he first bring a knife on school grounds and second pull it out over an argument over a seat? Y'all, I done seen some heated arguments working at the schoolhouse. Never would I ever think somebody would pull a knife out over a seat. A life was lost, and that is tragic. But what's also tragic is the way the media is twisting the story to fit their agenda. Whoever wrote this is crazy as hell. All you have to do is tell the story exactly how it happened. You ain't even got to add no extras in there. And Carmelo looked crazy. The media doesn't have to do too much here.
You a different level of understanding. So check this out. It says, here's what they don't want you to know. The twins don't just ask him to leave. They try to jump him before attacking him.
Exactly. Thank you, Skinny. I'm glad you asked that question. So we are advocating for teenagers attempting murder on each other if they feel threatened. That is exactly what people are advocating for. That is what I hear. And the crazy part is I'm hearing this from people with children and teenagers. And I worked in the schoolhouse, so you can't tell me that these kids ain't off the chain and don't have an attitude and aren't moody and don't fight and don't get out of pocket with each other. So to me, what that sounds like is a justification for if your child makes another child feel threatened or hurts their ego, that they have a right to unalive your child. That's what I hear when I'm hearing these arguments being made. That if your child gets into a mutual combat situation or a one-on-one fight with another kid, regardless of how bad the fight is, that it is reasonable for that child to unalive your kid. That's what I hear. Why would he want to chill in his ops tent? That's what I'm saying. People are lying. They're making things up. So they were trying to make it seem like the twins were bullying him. He was afraid for his life. He brought this knife because he wanted to protect himself from the twins. But then he walks over into the tent that the twins are in because it's their school. So obviously that's where they're going to be. And he sits there. And then they tell him to leave. And he's so afraid of them that he chooses not to leave, but instead gets into an argument with them. Doesn't that sound crazy? People are really slow and lack critical thinking skills.
They tried to take his belongings, broke his phone, and stomped on it. The twins are known bullies. So ask yourself, if two 200-pound attackers are looking for trouble. The claim that one of the twins had never seen Carmelo before, a blatant lie. No student has the right to remove another student from a school-owned tent. The school owns the tent, not the twins. Carmelo is a track athlete. The twins are not. He wasn't even expecting to see them there. Now, I like how this person laid this all out because he laid out a whole bunch of facts, basically saying that, hey, no one owns.
See how she keeps on saying this person? So she's just repeating a post. She doesn't even know who this is. She doesn't even know the relationship that this person allegedly has to Carmelo Anthony. And again, he was not there. He was not there in the tent, whoever this was. So this could all be fake. And she's talking about it on her YouTube channel as if it's fact. She's not even putting a disclaimer on it that, hey, this could actually be a fake post. I don't know. This is just something that was put out there. Like, if you're going to do it that way, then fine, present it. But she's talking about it as if it's reality, like if it is a known fact. Ma'am, stop.
The bleachers, you don't own the tent. And also, Austin and his brother were not track athletes. Why were they there? And if they were there, why did they feel the need to take it upon themselves to ask this young man to leave? It's not.
I'm not sure if they were track athletes or not. I don't know that. I don't know why they were there. I don't know why the brothers were under the tent, but it's their school tent. Like, it's their school tent. A lot of people travel with their team. So I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what they played. I know they played football. I don't know about track. It's not uncommon for the football boys to run track. I used to work at a school that's very well known for sports in Texas, and the football players ran with the track boys, or a lot of them ran track too. So that's not uncommon.
Right. They were the aggressors, in my opinion, and everything is pointing to that. I think that when this case goes to trial.
Well, ma'am, luckily people with more sense than you wrote the Texas penal codes. Luckily the people who were up on game wrote those codes, because if it were left up to you, people would either be going to jail or getting exonerated with little to no evidence except for Facebook posts, and you would see that as sufficient evidence to bring forth charges. This is crazy. She's nuts, honestly.
Trial, or whenever we hear about the court documents, I think we'll see another side of this, and I believe that young Carmelo will be vindicated. Now,
ma'am, what evidence do you have to suggest that you will see another side to it, or that he will be vindicated, other than a Facebook post, and you don't even know who the person is? You couldn't even provide the name of the person, and you couldn't even provide their relationship to Carmelo Anthony. You couldn't even verify if they went to the same school. You couldn't even verify whether they were there or not.
Now, as far as this race baiting thing, the parents are trying to say it's not a race issue, but the fact of the matter is this: it's always a race issue. If you look at the photos they're showing of Carmelo Anthony versus the photos they're showing of Austin Metcalf, you will see that they...
Yes, because Carmelo Anthony is the one that did the stabbing. So they're going to show his mugshot in jail, as they do everybody else. I've seen plenty of white people with a mugshot. Hell, they showed Donald Trump's mugshot. I know she don't think that Carmelo Anthony is immune from having his mugshot shown on TV. What the hell does she think this is?
They are trying to paint a picture and a narrative about this young man, even though he has not been proven guilty yet, okay? And this is what the media does. The parents are going to act like it's not about race, but the facts are they know that it is, and that's why they're doing all this.
No. This didn't have to be about race. As a matter of fact, I'm going to say this. If Austin Metcalf was a black child, we wouldn't even be hearing about this. It wouldn't be about race at all. To black people, this would be a pretty open and shut case. Matter of fact, black people wouldn't even care about the case. It is a race issue because we're making it a race issue. I think what the parents are trying to say is they didn't get into this dispute or altercation because Carmelo Anthony is black. And that might very well be true. It might not be true. But as far as the way that people are being so biased without sufficient evidence, without doing their due diligence to research, that is absolutely a race issue. And we're making it that way.
Press and having all these issues going on. And I don't think that they would ever admit to themselves that they raised a kid who was probably a bully. Fact. I refuse to be a part of the narrative to paint Carmelo as a...
Ma'am, do you think that they would rather raise a bully or a red rummer? Y'all read Stephen King. Y'all know what that is. It's not that serious. It's not that serious. Carmelo Anthony took the life of somebody else. Let's not act like that's not what it was. Let's not act like that doesn't come with the magnitude and the heaviness that it does. So all of this bully, both of these boys could have been bullies. It still doesn't justify what happened.
Horrible kid when there's no evidence of that. Also, I will not be a part of the narrative that paints these two kids as two angels, because if they were...
Well, in the police report yesterday, it said that they had taken several kids to the police station to get interviewed officially.
They would not have approached Carmelo in the beginning. I want to show you guys a video of the father trying to tell everybody don't make it about race, but we all know it's all a bunch of hot air. Let's get into it.
It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice.
Y'all see how she has such a lack of empathy? Now, this son's father is saying, let's not make it about race. Like, he doesn't want people talking bad about the kid that stabbed his son's race. He don't want people making it seem like it's a racial issue. It's a black on white thing. Like, he has the maturity, and he's the one that lost his son. And she's trying to make it seem like it's a bad thing or that he doesn't mean that. When he's the one that lost his son, ma'am, who are you?
Choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this. I don't appreciate some of the remarks I've seen online that people say there was this fight and they don't know. They weren't there. I know the truth.
Did you know you already speak English? I'm serious. If you've said before, I haven't seen the...
So, unless you were there, unless you saw it, don't spread gossip.
Just to ask you this one question, like I had mentioned, the self-defense argument made by the suspect, what's your reaction to that if that's used in court or used?
As a defense attorney, they're going to try every avenue. That's their job. The truth will come out. There were too many people that were there that saw what happened. My own son told me.
And he's confident in saying that because, again, per the police reports that we heard yesterday, everybody is saying the same thing. And nobody is saying that Carmelo Anthony got jumped. Nobody has said anything about a phone getting taken away and broken. I honestly think everybody was shocked that this happened. Like, they just did not see that coming. It seems like it went 0 to 1,000 real quick. Jamal Johnson says Cynthia G and Queen Maker are licking their lips and rubbing their hands. I can already tell you what perspective Sin is going to come from. Sin is going to be calling Carmelo a bandit. And then she's going to tell the women that's why you shouldn't be birthing them. The Queen Maker is going to come at the women who are making excuses for the behavior, like Voodoo Doll. So I don't even know if they're going to talk about it. Have they made videos about it? But I already know they're going to come at it from two kind of different perspectives. I believe during trial, more students will come forward on what they've seen, as they should. If this is racial, it'll come out at the trial. Yeah, and they have initial witness statements. That's exactly what both will say. Yeah, I know their personalities like the back of my hand. So I already know I can recite what Sinji gonna say word for word. I can recite what Princella gonna say word for word. You know, here's the thing. There's a lot of good young black men who just cannot get from underneath the shadow of the activities of the kids like Carmelo Anthony. Y'all understand? Like, I've worked in the suburbs. I've worked around these kids. I've worked around these young black boys, and there were so many who were really respectful. They were trying to, kids are kids and they're going to do kid stuff. But there were so many who just wanted to go to college and they wanted to play football and they wanted to run track. And then you had that element, like, for example, on the football team, you'd have that element. For example, I work for a school and the football team got caught because they was all selling weed. They had a weed selling ring that was going on. They got caught. the school administration swept it under the rug, and they ended up going and playing in the championship, right? And there was boys on the football team who were doing stuff like Carmelo Anthony, taking pictures with guns and things like that. And you want to do weed and you don't want to do your schoolwork and you're skipping class, right? You had those, and then you have the boys who were genuinely good boys who came to class. It wasn't like they were square or nothing. Good, mature boys, though, that was trying to do the right thing, trying to come to class, very respectful, you know, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, had a job, might have smoked something, might have not. Most of them, a lot of them weren't doing that. And it's like they can't get from up underneath the shadow that the Carmelo Anthony's cast, is what I'm trying to say. So it's like, if we're going to care about young Black boys and young Black men, you have to address the fact that these Carmelo Anthonys exist and nobody is doing anything about it early enough. Like, I feel like somewhere along the way, this type of behavior could have been caught. Nobody just does that out of nowhere. There had to have been signs. I wonder what his school attendance was like. I wonder what his teachers would say about him. I wonder what his suspension record looks like. Because you can't tell me that he did something like that and he had absolutely no problems at school. No, you're not going to tell me that. I was a teacher. Sin scared to debate me, so is Princella. Intelligent hood genius, what makes you think they scared to debate you? Why don't you call in? Why don't you call in on Princella's show? I don't know about Sin. I think Sin just don't like talking to folks. But I remember at one point, Intelligent Hood Genius, I don't know if she's doing it anymore. And they might see it as your channel is smaller than theirs, so they don't want to give you any more attention. That's another thing you got to think about when you're trying to go on other YouTubers' platforms and they're bigger than you. A lot of the times they just don't want to. They don't want to put other people on you. It might not even necessarily have anything to do with whether or not they feel like they're equipped to debate you. I don't think you want the smoke, my guy. Yeah, I mean, I remember at one point she was allowing men to just come up and debate her. And honestly and truly, I done heard every argument in the book get used against her. And it's always a man who's like, oh my God, I'm going to say this. And it's like, no, y'all all think the same way. Y'all all trying to use the same arguments. And everybody thinks that they're going to use an argument that hasn't been used before, but she see you coming. Like, we not going to deny Princella Carr. That girl is sharp.
Me, what happened? There was never a punch even thrown. So I don't care. There was never a phone broken.
That sounds consistent because I haven't heard anybody say punch. I haven't heard anybody say punch. Even Carmelo, he said he put his hands on me, but he didn't say he punched me. I haven't heard any of the witnesses say punch. I've heard push. I've heard shove. I haven't heard punch yet.
We've never had contact with this individual ever. So unless you were there, I don't appreciate all the gossip and all the mistruths that people are speaking at this moment.
Is that shocking to hear or read, or at least hear from me, say that that's what he told police after that moment?
No, what do you expect? If you're caught, the best thing you're gonna do is try to lie your way out of it. Now, I'm not saying he's a liar, but the truth and the facts, justice will prevail. It has nothing to do with me.
Yeah, I'm not buying this because we're not going to skate over the obvious racist issue here. And there's definitely that. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really hope that Carmelo is able to beat this and that mentally, emotionally, and everything, he's doing okay. Because
this is how slow some of these women are. And I really do hope Princella rip these type of women apart. Now, what I'm about to say, this applies to Carmelo Anthony and men who engage in activities of the sort. This is not a blanket statement for all Black men. I want y'all to hear me clearly when I say this. I'm talking about a specific type, that being Carmelo Anthony, who has shown a proclivity to not be able to control their emotions, overreact, and unalive somebody in a fit of rage. Okay. She's saying she hopes he gets out of jail. For what, ma'am? Because he got to go be around other people. This is the type of person that if he gets off, I guarantee you, we will see him in jail within the next 5 years for doing something to somebody else. This is the type of person that goes into a fit of rage when he's arguing with his girlfriend at the house and unalives her. And if he date Black girls, he'll be unaliving a Black woman. Ma'am, is that what you want? Since race is so important, is that what you want? This is the type of person to get into it with another male on the street and unalive them over nothing. Potentially another Black person, another Black man. Is that what you want, ma'am? Since you're hoping that he gets off and he doesn't have to deal with the consequences of his actions, somebody gonna have to deal with the consequences if that boy gets off scot-free. Princella sharper than Sinji. That's a fact. Yeah, that Princella, she's an Aquarius. She's sharp. She does her research. I'm not saying that Sinji doesn't do her research. I'm saying Princella is so thorough and tactical with it. She's a technician when it comes down to breaking stuff down. Sinji not dumb, but blinded by her own propaganda and hatred. Okay, I can see that. This is mostly Black women being like this. Many Black men are not sliding with Carmelo. You know what? The people that I have heard that are speaking up against Carmelo and what he did and calling a spade, the majority have been Black men. Yes. Now, it hasn't been too many that I've heard. I feel like the majority want to side with Carmelo, but in terms of like the ratio on the side of those of us who are actually saying, no, what he did is wrong, you're probably more likely to find Black men who are saying this. Yes, I would agree with that. Well, now you're projecting. We don't know that yet. They are both suburban kids. So let's just wait and see. It's not about whether they hood or suburban. I'm talking about what he did. I'm not going based off of, I'm talking about the actions. I'm talking about the lack of emotional self-control. That one incident is all I need to know. This is not a projection on all Black males. I'm talking about Kim and people that do stuff like Kim. And that's whether they be a Black male, a Hispanic male, or a white male. He has already shown that he cannot control his emotions. So I'm not projecting anything. I'm going based off of the action. Somebody is unalive because of his lack of self-control over a seat. I don't want to be walking around with people like that on the street. Nobody. I don't care what race they are. That's where I disagree with you. I don't see no problem with standing on business as a man. There's a difference between standing on business. It would have been different. Here's the thing. This is not us talking about a situation where Austin Metcalf had a weapon too, or threatened him with the weapon first. So then he had to stand on business. This is him, first of all, being too emotionally immature to leave the area he not even supposed to be in. That's not even your school. So now you want to get in your ego over that. Now it's instead of him just leaving, y'all want to escalate. Now it's an argument. Now you taking a knife out your bag. Ain't nobody even touched you yet. Now you talking about some touch me. Now the boy touch him. It sounded like it wasn't even a punch, and you stab him straight in the heart. That is psychotic behavior. That's not standing on business. Standing on business would have been Austin Metcalf took out a knife or took out a weapon or said he was going to unalive him or do something like that. So he was like, okay, it's either going to be you or me, buddy, it's going to be you. That's standing on business. Not going off the deep end because you can't control your emotions. It just has to be for a reason. I don't have sympathy for other men's lives. We are men. It's consequences. So somebody tell Sinji and Princella. Okay. Facts. He was wrong. Black men don't want to piss off black women. What are you saying? Are you saying black women can't control themselves emotionally? Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, not all of us, obviously, but I'm not going to argue. I mean, I've met plenty of black women who have a lack of emotional self-control. If Carmelo was getting jumped by the twins and stabbed him, I would support Carmelo. Yeah, but he wasn't getting jumped. Carmelo has not said that. He didn't tell the police officers that, and nobody on the scene said that. So as far as we know, the other brother wasn't involved at all. Off school property, and again, this is just based on the information that we had now. Off school property, I would support Carmelo, but in this case, no, right? Like, you weren't even supposed to have that knife there. If he got jumped, you can up a weapon, no question. Even that depends. That depends. In the state of Texas, that depends. It depends on, again, it depends on how bad it is, where you're at. That's very murky. I'll say that. But you have more of a chance of getting off. Yes. That's why Lil Tim not in jail. Granted, Austin and his bro ain't King Von. Yeah, but this is also Texas. So different states have different laws about self-defense. That's another thing. When I hear people making these blanket statements about self-defense laws, this is not a blanket situation. This is a state case. So you have to apply state laws. Y'all know that in the United States, that it's like going to a different country when you go to another state in terms of laws. Even stand your ground laws are different in different states that have stand your ground laws. I made the comments in regards to the black men defending Carmelo, but men understand accountability. Yeah, facts. I think so too. And I feel like some of those men might be thinking, reasonably so, dang, what if I get into it with another man and he just like unalive me over something we could have talked about? Because that's the real story here, right? This unfortunately happened to Austin Metcalf, but this happens to young black men every single day. And that's why a lot of times they walk around on edge, not trusting people, trying to act hard, trying to project this tough guy image, because deep down they're scared of being victimized by another male. Not in school though. There's no self-defense for unaliving in high school. Yeah. I mean, just the fact that he brought that weapon on school property, especially, I don't know how long it was. That's going to matter, right? But he has no case. He's going to argue self-defense. He's going to lose. They're not going to let him walk. The best thing he can do is take a plea deal. Yeah, this is a public school. Weapons are illegal. It's no self-defense for high school fights in school. Shaking my head. Yeah, I mean, you have an unauthorized weapon on school property. that alone is gonna lose him the case. And I was saying this yesterday, Intelligent Hood Genius. I don't know if you were, I can't remember if you were on the live. I know you were on the live the day before. Carmelo Anthony is being charged as an adult because he's 17. So a lot of people are thinking this is a juvenile case, and they're saying things like, well, he shouldn't get charged as an adult. That's a foregone conclusion. In the state of Texas at 17, when they arrest you, you go into the big house. You go into jail with grown men. You're getting charged as an adult. He's not sitting in juvenile detention center right now. So it's really unfortunate. Let me see. Does she have anything else to say?
I'm pretty sure he's not having a great time right now. Both kids were affected. Unfortunately, both families are affected. But I urge people out there to just seek the truth and leave race out of it. Because if we're going to go race-wise.
Okay, so she says seek the truth and leave race out of it. She's not making sense, because wasn't she just mad at the father for trying to say this isn't a race thing? And then she was saying that's BS. Now she's telling people to leave race out of it and seek the truth when she hasn't even did anything to seek the truth. She's not doing her due diligence. She pulling up Facebook posts from unknown sources.
What we do know is it typically doesn't work out in the favor of the black kid. And that's just unfortunate, but it is a fact. Now,
again, she's making these general statements. It's not going to work out for Carmelo because he's guilty. Because several witnesses can say that he's guilty. And because according to the law, that is not racist. Y'all went through them laws with me yesterday. Y'all heard it. There's nothing about race in the law. The law is the law. And it's not racist at all. And under the law, he is not covered under a self-defense argument. He can make the argument. Under Texas statute, he's not covered. It doesn't say young black boys aren't covered. No, this applies to all people. There's no mention of race in the law, boo.
I'm going to leave you guys with another little clip of a reporter who brought out the fact that his friend came out to speak on his behalf. And I'm so happy someone did. I heard Carmelo has a GoFundMe. I would urge if anybody would like to go ahead and donate, because he's definitely going to need legal fees. But ultimately, this is a sad situation on both ends, and I wish it didn't happen, but here we are. Now, I'm going to leave you guys with his attorney and what he has to say as far as his case for self-defense, and we will keep an eye on this entire story, you guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Of a Frisco teenager took to Facebook to defend him Friday. Kevin Hayes wrote that Carmelo Anthony defended himself against violent aggressors in a now viral Facebook post. He calls the victim and his twin brother bullies and claims they tried to take his belongings, broke his phone, and stomped on it.
I'm sure the defense would argue.
Okay, so this is the same post, I'm assuming. So Kevin Hayes, that's the friend.
That he's a young man, he's scared, he's allegedly just been jumped by multiple people, and, he panicked.
Attorney Mike Howard.
It's going to be complicated, and it's going to depend on what the witnesses there say.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, Carmelo might have otherwise not had any problems. I'm pretty sure he has friends that liked him and hung around him. I saw a picture of him, like even that picture with him in the little airsoft pew-pew. He was in the picture with black boys and white boys. It's Frisco. I'm pretty sure there are people who can say good things about him or had good times around him. that's not going to have any bearing on whether or not he gets found guilty. You know, those people need to show up during sentencing. That's when that might matter. To be fair, she's from Louisiana. Princella from Texas, like you. She ain't with the fuck shit. Stingy in Washington, so race likely don't matter. Yeah, I'm starting to think certain folks, let me not say that. Yeah, that woman sounds slow. She said way more than this because the comments were divided and I led the division again. I still love her, but just no. Yeah, she was being double-sided. She talking out the side of her mouth. You trying to say this is all about race. You mad at the parents for grieving. Who gets mad at parents for grieving over their son? Does she not have kids? I'm trying to understand why that was such a problem. Oh, they're crying all over the internet. They're crying right tears. This internet stuff be having people really messed up in the head because all of this internet slang and rhetoric, like this is some internet beef or something, like real lives aren't damaged here. Like somebody didn't lose their life. And she talking real reckless. Okay, what else y'all want to talk about? I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. Y'all, please make sure that y'all like the live. That helps people know that I'm on here. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat right now. Anybody that want to come up, you don't have to be cammed up to come up. You can give your opinion. I'll give you the floor to speak. Is D Mally in here? Oh, that's D Mally. D Mally, I didn't realize that was you. I'm sorry. I am so tired. I've been up since 3 a.m. I just read your comment. Then talking about some Miss D Valley in here. Yeah. Hey, what's up? It's good to see you, brother. Yes, he's guilty, but at what degree? The defense team will have to do a thorough job. I don't. Were you on my live yesterday when we were going through the Texas statutes? That self-defense claim isn't gonna stick. I just added somebody. You don't gotta get on with the camera. That self-defense claim is not gonna stick at all. There's zero chance that that sticks. Especially considering that so far all of the witnesses have the same story. Somebody just tried to come up but got dropped off. What happened? Okay, there you go, Jamal.
Hey,
Hey, Jamal.
how you doing? Let me just mute this the TV
Okay.
because I'm holding the phone. I'm using the TV. I always lose the damn remote every single time I do it.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's muted. All right, how y'all doing? I was just yeah, it's nice to talk to you. I was just going through because first of all, I want to say I appreciate what you do. And I've been watching some of your other videos. You bring great content. So as long as as long as I come and try to support that, at the very least, that'll spread. That energy will spread. I'm just cooking something. That energy will spread, and other people will be up on Mariah. But
thank you.
And what I do love about your content, which to get back to what the topic of hand has been, among other things, is that you're not a pick me by any means. I watched some of your other videos, but at the same time, it just seems like on a deeper level, I don't know if it's spiritual or what, you seem to just be tired of whatever the mainstream thing in society is. So whether it's white supremacy, whether it's fake wokeism, whatever kind of stuff, because more than likely it's not good for society no matter what. So you can see through all the games and I can tell you're a person that doesn't follow the crowd and you're a diverse person.
Thank
you. I think that it's one of those things where, and I guess because you're a teacher, teachers tend to be nerdy enough that they explore outside of, some are indoctrinated. you have some wild ass teachers. There might even be some teachers in Chicago that are with Carmelo Anthony. But by and large, uh, teachers would be more open minded, and therefore, you're teaching, you're training kids ideally to be leaders and thinkers. So it would help if you're a leader and a thinker yourself. Um, which gets to the crux of what I was trying to address is that this is a society. Everybody's supposed to follow the leader. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's not about right or wrong. It's about sides. It's about what did people think of you before something happened. If you're a person that people think is dirty and something bad happens to you, people are going to say, well, whatever, we don't need that person in society anyway, especially if
Mm-hmm.
it was done by somebody that people think is clean. And somebody uh, does something to someone, it's all, and it just did happen with George Zimmerman, admittedly, but people just love to play sides. This is a society of sides, sides. And it seems like, you know, right now, as it stands right now, this very moment in history, it seems like black women are the ones that are sort of driving the division and setting the terms for it. Because this is a time for black women. I could get deep and say that the time for black men was the last decade, but similar to what happened in the 80s and 90s with the gang wars, the drill thing kind of screwed that up. And people have kind of taken that mentality. And that's why there's so much division. And that's why people are so quick to smoke somebody over nothing. That's why people are so disrespectful. People don't care about somebody that died because that mentality has been spread apart. And now it looks like black women are taking on that sort of angry, divisive
Yeah.
mantle. And that's why you're a breath of fresh air. And so is Candace Owens, but you're not right wing like Candace Owens. Though Candace Owens is not happy with everything Donald Trump does. So that's why I can respect that. Whereas right now, it seems like on the other side, there's a bunch of people who would just want to play sides and get everybody else to do so. And this is just an era of, taking sides, following the leader, going along with the talking points, and and that's it. And that's the reason why, um, somebody like you needs to stay on the air because, and maybe eventually somebody like me will start doing this too. But
Right. Right. Definitely. Um, I hear exactly what you're saying, and I do kind of feel like, and that's why I don't intentionally try to play the middle, and I feel like it's like a case by case kind of thing. Like I don't play the middle. Jamal, you dropped off. Come on if you can. Come back on if you can. I don't try to play the middle. Like I don't try to be balanced. The balance will naturally happen if you just look at everything case by case. Um, then balance will come. I'm sorry, Jamal. I was just saying I don't necessarily try to be balanced. Um, but the balance naturally comes if you look at everything case by case. And you give your honest like assessment of it just based on the facts. You'll never have a one-sided channel if you operate like that. It's impossible to have a one-sided channel if you operate like that. Can you hear me, Jamal?
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. With that said, I want to respond to what you were saying. And I hate to say this because, like, I know I have a lot of viewers, probably majority of the women that watch me are black women, but I will say that I have found myself over the last couple of years, especially these last couple of months, being
Mhm.
particularly isolated from black women. So like my best girlfriends are black. My two best friends are black, but as far as trying to like make new female friends or even just female family members, it's been very isolating because they're so militant. If you don't think the exact way they think, they hate you. They hate you. Or you have that other side to where they feel like they can say certain things that are just rude because they're walking around with the chip on their shoulder and they
Right.
expect you not to say anything. So it's getting to the point where I've even become more isolated and I've had to ask myself, how do the men deal with this?
Well, we're
So
dusty.
the
We're
same,
broke.
go ahead.
No, we're dusty and we're broke. So we deal with it in a dusty, broke way. And we all go watch Red Pill. But no, in all seriousness, I mean, you're right. And not to cut you off, but on top of the fact that they get really mad at you if you don't, you have to agree with them on everything. So
We
what if
do.
there is issues where you agree with? If you say, nah, not this, but I agree, like Voodoo Doll for some, we haven't gotten into it yet, but she had a segment where she was going crazy on what she called him Mike, but she was talking about Martin Luther King and you know how he was a government agent. He was about Jesse Jackson because Jesse Jackson was
Hmm.
sick, whatever. He was in the news, and so she was going crazy on him. I'm it was a government agent and all that, saying a bunch of stuff that I've been thought. She just said it in a much more bombastic way, and the fact that she's from Louisiana that made it entertaining. But when it came to this one right here, I said, "Oh no, hell no!" And but what I ended up seeing is all these women in the comments. Da 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 da. Well, then this, that, and the third. Well, what if it was your son? And what if your son? I'm like, well, my son is locked up right now, and he's bullied white kids and black kids, and I got on his ass about both. And he was bullied by black kids and white kids, and they're both sets of parents got on their kids' ass about both. So we're not playing that game up here. And on top of the fact, what was I about to say? Ah, I damn near lost. Oh, yeah, that's what I was gonna say, right? So we believe in accountability, but the issue here is that dang, I keep losing my train of thought because I have so much stuff going on in my head. I'll let you
It's
respond.
okay. Take your time. Yeah, that to respond to that. Well, what if it was
Oh,
your?
here's what it.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
this is
Go
what it
ahead.
is.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is what it is. So what she was saying to address what you were saying, I think this is what she said that you didn't catch this part. She said you discipline behind the scenes when he get if she was Carmelo's mom, she might beat his ass when he get home and say you was wrong, you was out of pocket, call him names, and get on his ass. But in public, in front of the clears, her language, in front of the clears, in front of everybody else, she would stand on the united front, and that's what she wants everybody to do. Yeah, go ahead.
No. See, that's the behavior that you operate in when you don't have any honor. She can
Mm,
still be there for him as a mom. There are cultures where if you do something like that, no matter how much you love your kid, you got to bring that kid before justice and you got to go apologize to the other family. But see, she don't know what that look like. No. Behind the scenes, first of all, the mom wasn't there. She don't have anything to do with the investigation. It's not about taking sides. What the very least she could do is apologize to the
mm-hmm.
other family that it happened. She could say something like, I'm truly sorry that this happened. I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry that you're grieving this and leave it at that. She don't got to get into whether or not her son is or is not innocent. Because first of all, you weren't there. What we do know, what we can prove is that he took that boy's life. So it's not her job to defend him because, girl, you wasn't there. Let the defense attorney defend him. The only thing his mom has to publicly do is acknowledge the other family's loss and be quiet. It's really that simple.
Right.
It's really that simple. Acknowledge that their son is unalive. Acknowledge their loss and their pain and suffering. Acknowledge that if it was the other way around, I would be devastated. That's all she has to do. She don't got to come out and speak up against her son, but she don't got to come out and try to play defense attorney either. That's what them GoFundMe's are for. Whether or not Carmelo was a good kid or this and that is completely irrelevant. It's going to be completely irrelevant when they go before that jury.
Yeah.
That don't matter. Same way how whether or not Austin was a bully, all of that is completely irrelevant to the situation.
That might play a fact. Oh
That,
no, but they didn't know each other. That's my bad. I'm thinking they're on the
that's
same school.
that's what I'm saying. So all of that is completely irrelevant to what went down in that tent. And the only way it might be relevant, and it could hurt any way it could be relevant, either way it would hurt Carmelo. Because if they could prove that he brought that knife there for those twins specifically, then now you got a premeditated murder.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So that argument doesn't work in their favor. But when you don't know the law, you just say anything. I'm talking about the people who are saying that kind of stuff. With that said, that might make a difference. Carmelo's character when they go to sentencing. That's where that kind of stuff will matter.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm very disappointed in the women, because instead of them thinking, what if that were my son, and swapping their son out with the victim, they automatically view their sons as the perp, which is crazy.
They want to go to George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin and Derek Chauvin.
Yeah, they want to apply again. That's what I was saying a couple lives ago. People are so traumatized, and I'm gonna say this. I'm starting to question, because I'm not gonna lie. When all of those cases were going on, I did not do any type of research. I was listening to whatever Black Lives Matter said. I don't even have enough details. All I know is I'm taking a Black person's side.
Right.
But because of this particular case, and I've come to a space where I have matured enough to look into things, and I'm not on all of that race stuff. I'm on some, let's see people for people and let's move forward. Now that I can see through a clearer lens going forward, I will be looking into things before I throw my support in behind anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what this has showed me is that there's a lack of credibility because emotions are too deep in it.
And not only that, I mean, and again, I'm not civil rights. I'm on the Black Revolutionary side. But however, this is where Martin Luther King would be sensible, because what he would say is, look, if you're going to have this kind of attitude in a situation like this, that's counterproductive in the long run. That's a short-sighted view, because you want to let people see that we have some sense. We could see right
Yes.
from wrong. We're humane. We're not going to just be so, and that's almost a lack of maturity. That's almost, to be honest with you, that's actually kind of childish, and it's making me say, I think that men need to stand up and say, let us do the talking for our rights, because men are more sensible. And like I said, a lot of the men are like, hey man, I don't know about all that, man. That's not a good way to go, because he's a minor. So a lot of men think that he's probably, they see what's been happening, and they don't think he's going to go out like TK, which means that he will have another chance again. He'll see the light of day. It just won't be, for a little while. And you don't want to send the message that um, these kids can just go out here and be wild, and we're going to defend them based off race, because what you're going to do is spark a race war that you're not going to win. And you're going to spark a situation where now we really won't get justice. So people will say, look at this. This is not about justice. This is all about sides. So when you do get a situation where somebody white is malicious, now you're going to get other white people and other people saying, well, look at what these black people do, and look at what happened with that Carmelo Anthony case. If they couldn't see that that was wrong, then clearly they can't see anything was wrong. And that's what Martin Luther King would say.
And let me tell you something. This is the worst time they could have picked to behave like this, because I've seen all type of crazy stuff being written online. One dude came up under my comment section on Facebook, and he attributed what Carmelo Anthony did to just black men walking around being tired of the white man. So if I'm a white person and I have a
Wow.
business and I read something like that, knowing there's no more DEI,
Yeah,
knowing that
exactly.
there's no more affirmative action, guess what? I'm not
No,
finna
no, no.
hire you. And it is not even gonna be because I feel a way towards like let's say let's flip it the other way around, right? Me as a black person, biracial person of color, whatever folks want to call it. And I
Yeah,
saw people, anybody going around saying they didn't like my kind, or you walk around with animosity toward people that look like me. Do you think I'm going to hire you and give you an opportunity to lash out at me when you get upset? And the
exactly.
way a lot of them are talking, they trying to speak for everybody. Oh, black men, black folks, we tired of this. We this and that. Yeah, finally. Oh, y'all just did it up. Okay. So if I'm a person that has a business, a white person that has a business, if I didn't care before, if I was like open hearted and like, okay, well, let me judge people based off of the contents of the character and the color of their skin, I'm gonna start saying, oh, hold on, I didn't realize y'all felt that way. No,
Exactly.
I would at the very least start trying to screen to try to figure out whether or not the black person that I'm hiring has that a sentiment of hate or dislike towards me. Now I'm gonna start looking more into your social media. I'm gonna try to figure out, how do you feel about me? Because I can't have you. I'm trying to tell you to go clean the toilet, or I'm trying to give you an extra assignment in corporate America, and you feel like you having flashbacks to slavery that you never experienced. And you just have a flashback because I tell you to go do something, and then you stab me because you tired of the white folk.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how I be thinking.
Yeah.
If
I,
y'all walking around with that much trauma, I don't think we need to be around each other then. Not even because on some dislike or I don't like y'all culture or nothing like that. Y'all the ones making it clear and well known that you got some animosity toward them. Like
but when did
you
this
get
energy come back though? Like the 2000s, I feel like was the best decade for racial and gender issues because unfortunately, ever since Obama, and particularly like after it really into his first term, from that point on, it seems like this is just all of a sudden we have this. You start hearing about foundational Black Americans and tethers and culture vulture and this and that. I'm thinking like, when did it come to this? Like, when did we all of a sudden just feel? I feel like a lot of people are just really acting brand new. People
you
never
know what?
been through nothing. Everybody niggas is getting smoked every day, and
Right.
there's no context to it. They're not trying to. You ask a lot of people in Chicago. They want peace, but at the same time, they don't want to be the ones to have to say nothing. They'll go along with if they have gang members in their family. If they have a brick baby in their family, they'll just take pictures with them, go along with what they say, and go along with their thinking and be pro them, pre-pro that side, and never really express too much about them not liking the division that's there. And so you have a lot of really angry young men out here, including my son, and they have animosity towards women, and they have animosity towards authority. And
Mhm.
a lot of these guys, some of these guys seen some dark things, but at the end of the day, ultimately, none of it's excusable. And it gets to a point where um, now you're enabling the very thing that you should be trying to avoid. I don't want to take up too much of the time, but you
No,
know,
you're fine. No, you're fine. Don't worry. I'll let you know. No, you're fine. No, I get exactly what you're saying, and I kind of feel like, so just being transparent here, I bought into all of that. I drank the Kool-Aid when I was in college. I bought into all of that. White people are racist, and the crazy thing is I never really just spent too much time around white people growing up. I lived in Waco for like a year and a half, and that was the longest I was around a lot of white people. Then my senior year of high school, I went to a school where it was like 30% white, 30% black, the rest were Hispanic or something else.
that's
So
okay.
that was my like that was the extent to my mixing with white people. But and I had some experience where, because of cultural differences, white people were trying to be funny or say something crazy. But for the most part, when I think about my interactions with them, it was cool. It was cool. For the
Yeah.
most part, it was cool. Like, yes, were there some prejudices that they had? Yes, I also had some prejudices toward them, but for the most part, it was cool. And then I just kind of feel like when Obama got elected, I think what happened was, I think you did have an element of people who were racist, right? Of course. The first black president, of course.
But what I'm getting at is when all this division actually really kicked off. Because to me, the first, yeah, Republicans and conservatives went absolutely bonkers beyond what I think was in reason. Because I don't never think that he was this radical dude. But where things really took a serious turn is when the extreme feminism kicked off, them overly pushing the LGBT agenda. And that energy coupled with the already crazy Tea Party energy created this powder keg, which then created Trump. And now we're where we at right now. And now you have all this division. The drill thing kicked off in 2012. You put that together now. That's how we got the society that we have right now. And again, hip hop media during that time was also very irresponsible, letting people come on and diss their dead ops and all this type of stuff and take their lingo and not hold them accountable, being too afraid to ask tough questions. And what ended up happening is these guys get up and start incriminating themselves anyway. That got infused into mainstream society, all of this racial stuff. Then you start to have the extreme division between black men and black women, which then split, which caused a lot of men to start going right wing. And I think that's how you got this situation right now. And I think that it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it will only get better if the men decide to say, you know what, enough's enough. We don't care about nobody's racist comments from here on out. We're going to be pro-black while at the same time be pro-people, while at the same time understanding we have to have a functional society.
Yeah, facts. I feel like the men have to stop being afraid and letting the women punk them, And I'm saying this is somebody who I have to deal with the same thing. They be trying to, I feel like they be a little bit more froggy with y'all because y'all are men and they see y'all as less of a threat, as in terms of whether or not it gets physical. In their mind, they feel like because you're a man, they can disrespect you and you're not gonna do anything to them.
Right.
Versus, in person, they kind of watch how they say certain things to women. But yet and still, I still deal with the attitudes. I still deal with the slick remarks, the shade. The one thing that women hate is they'll try to come at me about something that I think, and we're in person, and they get more mad that they end up looking stupid in front of everybody. Because you thought I was going to come with some talking points. But I actually thought about what I'm about to say. So it's just, I feel like as far as men gotta truly go their own way. Kind of like the whole, the MGTOW movement. Men gotta truly go their own way in terms of, we don't care what y'all think. Either you gonna deal with us or you not. And if you're not gonna deal with us because of our beliefs, who cares? I never thought about it like this. So before, I used to say that a lot of black men that date outside the race because they don't like themselves. So if you think about it, especially like black men who are conservative, they're way more likely to date outside their race. But when I sit and think about it,
they are.
There's not that many options of people who align with their values that they can date if they stay within the race. If they choose to be a person who's open-minded and date somebody who is their own race, but they have differing political views, a lot of the times the black women are going to talk shit about them, emasculate them, argue with them all the time about their views, try to change their mind, get upset. So it's like you have to go where the options are more plentiful. So you're more likely to find a woman that accepts your political views if you date Latina or white.
Well, I'm a liberal. I see what when they date Chinese girl. I mean, granted, I'm in Toronto, but and I'm from Chicago, so I think there's a little bit more. I would like to think that there's a lot less barriers. So up here and in Chicago, black women are just they really go at them. Even light skinned women, like You know, they might, yeah, girl, you know, you did. Even might tell you you're too good for that man, but behind the scenes, they're tearing you apart. And it's just like, I heard that before. If you date outside your race, you hate. When in reality, the worst thing could be, you know, at the worst thing for that most insecure thing that could be is if you're scared of the women of your race, which I used to be, or if you're on some Kodak Black where he what did he say? He was like, red bone don't want a black bitch. I'm already black. I don't need a black bitch. Whatever. Where basically you
Yeah.
want a new adventure. You want a new adventure. You see black women, you grew up with them, so now you want to try some because it's out there. Type
Yeah,
shit. Whatever. Right.
it's like you get two extremes. You get the ones who are extremely afraid of the women, like you were saying, and then you get the ones who are like have extreme animosity, right? Or
Or they're
or
just
like
extremely like,
or like I just don't have a taste for you type dudes.
yeah, extremely adventurous too. They want to
Yeah.
smash an Arab. Like I've seen guys, they check off. Sorry, you're not a man. You only seeing the stuff we see. But you see them check off a list. Okay, I had Chinese. I had now let me go get Japanese. I had this apple. Let me get this nationality. Have you ever had an Arab thing? Have you ever had a this thing? Ever had a whatever thing from this country? You hear it all the time. So sometimes it gets men do that. We do that too.
Yeah, I don't
You know.
think that's just a black man thing either. Like I've been around men of all races. I think that's a men of all races thing. Even here, people think like so in Colombia, people think like I honestly before I moved here, I didn't think I would get the attention that I get here because Colombian women are very beautiful and I know I'm an attractive woman too, but I didn't think I would stand out because I felt like um we all kind of look alike. I don't
Yeah,
know,
you
but
look like a lot of women.
yeah, but they know actually the men can spot the difference. Like they spot physical differences quickly, and to them, it's like you know when the Colombian women go to the United States, they are exotic. I am
Hmm.
exotic here, so now it's kind of like well, we want to try some of that over there. You feel me? Like so that's just men in general. Men want to try different things, for whatever reason they think it's all different. We all got something different.
Yeah, and they want to see what it's all about. But I think that I'm just saying that uh I want to talk about Trump a little bit before I get off. But yeah, we've been beating this topic like a dead horse. But honestly, I think that this has to be said because I think it's good to know that at least there's one person who thinks reasonably and that they can allow for other people who think reasonably to come out and say, hey, we can still be pro-black, but at the end of the day, you got to be reasonable. You have to be able to see right from wrong. And at the end of the day, these are kids. So it's like
Kids,
I,
bro.
I've been in so many places. Granted, that's why I'm being a little easy on Carmelo too. But still, right? Shout out. I mean, rest in peace to the kid Austin. But like and my heart goes out to both families. But at the end of the day, I've been in so many places where, okay, I was in Newmarket, Ontario, which is rural. Yeah, the white kids did treat me a certain way. The adults, that might have been one adult walking around that might have did something racist. Most of them, even if they had racist beliefs, they tried to be reasonable. If the kids are bullying me, hey, stop it. You have no right to do that, right? Um, if the white kid goes to some black person's house, right, and they get to bullying the white kid, you expect the parents to say, hey, you don't be doing that. So I don't want to lose that veneer. Like I feel like we're kind of like a lot of the black people are going for broke, where it's like I don't think you need to crash out over this. This is not a scenario where this is not one of that. And I think there's some really extreme reactions where you're throwing all the chips into this. I don't think it's that kind of affair. I think that this is just some regular American shit. The kid went too far. You don't have to make race. You make this race even a part of it. Kids do this all the time too. It's unfortunate, but kids do this kind of stuff all the time, and you have to deal with them. You have to address it like that. They go, no,
And
you
let me
can't
tell you
do that.
something. I've seen black. Let me tell you, when I was in high school, I went to Spruce in Dallas. If you know, you know. Just in the hood.
Hmm.
We had that area used to be all white. It's in the Grove. It's in Pleasant Grove. Now it's all black. But if you go back to them yearbooks in the 70s, it was all white. So the only white people that are still left there
White
are
flight.
extremely poor. Extremely poor. So at that time, the school was black and Mexican, and we might have had 5 white kids in the school.
Hmm.
The way the black kids treated those white kids was horrific. It
I could
was
believe.
horrific. The bullying. When I taught at school, this my last school, which was predominantly black, the second largest demographic was Hispanic. The black kids bullied. I had a little white. Well, he wasn't little. He was tall. He was a senior. But I had a white kid in my class, and the way that they talked about him and bullied him was terrible.
Yeah.
And he was nice. I remember going to a juvenile detention like day boot camp, right? Because I was a YN before there was YNs. Okay, I
Mm.
was bad when I was a kid. Okay, so I had to go, and the whole room was full of blacks. You had a couple of Hispanics, and there was one white boy. The way that they treated that they was calling him every racial slur, cracker. He wasn't even doing it. He there by himself. And I had to be the one person to hold it down by myself and be like,
Yeah.
y'all wrong, y'all bullying, y'all this. So even then at that age, I ain't like that. I wasn't going for that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
I don't
you
like
had
that.
the whole everybody against one, and I've always seen it happen like that. Anytime there were a few, one or two white people upset at folks over something slavery. You got kids upset at another kid acting like that child enslaved them, and we didn't have nothing to do with that. This child is living in the same area that you're living in. They're just as
That's the same
poor,
era.
or they're going through the same thing that you're going through, right? And you want to gang up on them, and you don't even have humanity enough to say it's 30 of us in this room and one of him.
Now, did
So
he ever
I've
try to
seen it.
like join their gang?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, because other things I've seen, you've seen the white boys that's like, yeah, my nigga, do 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 do, and they have tats all over their face. Did those kids grow up and become like that, or are they just sort of like, okay, I'm one of the niggas, I'm about to go join the gang, I'm gonna tap myself up, I'm gonna get into the same stuff they get into. Like, did he become
Well,
like
with
that?
my student last year, he was like, he was a white boy, but he was nice. With the one that was at the little boot camp thing with us, no, it wasn't like that. Or he didn't try. He was just, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like he was trying to fit in, but he wasn't trying to not fit in. He was just kind of a quiet person. It's just kind of like
Oh,
when he would try to talk or interject or give his opinions, everybody would jump on him, bully him. As far as the white kids, when I was in like the other high school, when I was actually in high school, there was a white girl who was like, try to talk black. So you had a couple of them who,
oh, she
I
got
don't know,
ran by.
huh?
Oh, she probably got ran by all the guys in the schools.
Yeah.
She did.
But then you had the ones who were like super just trying to stay to themselves. Or they might, have another friend that's, try to be friends with the other white kids, kind of like we stick together. But I mean, they went through it. The black kids put them through it. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Yeah, yeah, that's messed up. I've seen both of those kind of scenarios. I've seen that, and it's really sad. But here's the thing, though. How did the parents feel about it, though? Like, I'm sure the parents, like, if they found out about, like, what did the school faculty and how did the parents react to that bullying?
I don't know, because you gotta understand that was a different culture. That was the time of no snitching. So all of that bully stuff, we ain't even use that. That word was not used. We kind of handled our own problems at that age. And, if a parent got involved, it's because it got violent. But I honestly don't know how their parents felt about the situation.
Oh, I see, I see, I see. All right, yeah, because a
I'm
lot
pretty
of
sure
times,
they weren't going home and telling every incident that happened at school, just like I wasn't coming home and telling every incident. That was the time of no snitching.
yeah, that's true. And parents were parents, so if you call them and talk about that, they're not going to look at it from the child's perspective. They're going to look at it from a parent's
I mean,
perspective.
you don't want to get embarrassed because your parent came up to the school and now you look like a punk or you can't handle your own situation. So I don't know how
Or
you.
I meant more like, okay, if there was like of the school faculty, I'm sure they knew that so this was going on. So
They
they
was
try to
racist too. They was racist too. That was a different time.
what in the what? Where are you growing up, man? That
This was
sounds
in
like
Dallas, Texas. So you got to understand if the majority of the faculty is black, and you got black kids talking about a white person, the faculty is gonna laugh most of the time. They think that's funny. Just like even me as a mixed race person, when the black girls used to talk shit about me to other teachers who were, fully black women, they would talk shit about me with the black girls. And then
oh
they would,
yeah,
they would say
okay.
little shady stuff when I came in the classroom. So, like, I think you're giving teachers too much credit.
Because yeah, I know Chicago teachers were ghetto too, but at very least, what they did was even if they felt the same way, even if they said this other kid is a punk and he does look lame, they might do that. But for the white, what they would do is if it went too far, almost like the way jail guards are, where if it goes too far, then it's like okay, all right, now we got to play this role. So hey, y'all stop bullying this kid. Da da da. I'm gonna call your parents. This is what your child did. Now
You
the
have to change.
parents, now the parents said, hey, you can't be going to school doing this. Even if they might be racist themselves, they don't want to necessarily put that out there like that. And they want to try to save face. So I'm shocked I'm shocked, but I'm not shocked. But that's kind of
I don't remember the adults. I'm not even gonna hold you. I had at that same school. I had some of the I had some bullies that were teachers, bruh. Just because on God, I ain't even trying to be funny. Just because I offered the strength that I was biracial, like I had there are some I don't even want to talk about some of these situations, but one of the
but I
ones that
figured you'd be treated like a goddess by the
no,
by the dudes and teachers.
no, the teachers. I even had one teacher. She was such a bitch. Like I remember one incident where so she already didn't like me because there was this boy that liked me and one of her favorite students, right? But then one day, I don't even remember how the conversation came up, but I'm blessed in the back. I'm not gonna lie. I don't show it off, but I am. And she
Yes.
looks at and she's talking, and while she's saying this, she's looking directly at me. She was like, yeah, I don't want a big booty because of gravity. This is my science teacher, by the way, because of
Wow.
gravity. And eventually those big booties will sag. And she's looking dead at me while she's saying it.
Ooh,
Like petty,
that's
like
sexual harassment.
petty. That was a different time. Petty, but she was trying to make me feel
Different
insecure.
time. What is this? The 90s?
No, that was in 2007.
What?
Mhm.
2007? They're acting like this?
Yeah, but you got to understand, this was the time before everybody had an iPhone. It's like right on that cusp.
That don't
So
matter.
when I tell you I had a teacher, like I had a Spanish teacher. She was a black Spanish teacher. Mind you, I was the best. My Spanish was so good. All the other kids could not even roll their R's. They could barely pronounce the word. And she was like constantly deducting more points from my work than all the other kids. And I said something to her about it because it's like, what is the problem? Why do you keep doing this to me? And I'm actually trying, I'm putting in effort. Like my Spanish is very good. Like it sounds the way you want it to sound. Why are you doing this to my grade? So I called her out about it in class one day because I just got tired of it. And to me, it was pretty obvious what was going on. So she had me transferred out of her class and they transferred me into a Mexican guy's class. And I didn't have any problems. I got A's on all my work going forward.
Wow. Yeah, teachers are just people, I guess. And you
They're
know what? I hate to say it, but the faculty up here in Ontario is far more mature than teachers in the U.S. Like in Illinois, they try to be, but they play that race game, and that sounds like what you're saying. That sounds. I guess I was about to. I guess it would depend on how metropolitan the place is, but that sounds 2007. That's crazy. That's super modern. You make it sound like it's 1977 or
Man,
87.
well, you got
Sexual harassment and racism.
well, you got to understand the South didn't. Here's the thing: the South didn't start desegregate. Dallas, in particular, didn't start desegregating until 1977. So, for example, when my mom was in high school, they were still. That was when everything had just started. When my mom went to school, everything had just started desegregating. We didn't desegregate in the 50s in Dallas. Right? So my
Yeah.
mom would get chased home with white boys throwing rocks, calling her the N-word.
Whoa. What
This,
the? Wow.
this was
In
in
what
the
decade?
this was in the late 70s, early 80s.
Wow.
Biracial people in that part of Dallas that I'm talking about, where I went to the school where the teachers were treating me like this. It's not like California where you see so many biracial people. We were literally like unicorns.
Wow.
So it's a big deal to see one.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, my daughter dealt with bullying. That's why she stopped going to school and got into the streets. But I mean, and she's mixed too. Her picture would be here, but I'm just saying, like,
Now we see them. Now I see them all over. But at that time when I was in high school, no, you don't. There were maybe
well,
within
if you're
that,
light skinned have always been around.
but biracial, because they know the difference. Biracial mixed girls, no, that was not common. There was one other mixed girl at the school with me at that high school. It was one other mixed girl, and then there was one other mixed boy.
Okay, I guess I must have been ahead of my time then, because I remember my attitude towards race was never the same. Like the family was always ignorant. The only people who were ever up to date at any given time were me and my mom. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. Everybody else was super duper 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 ignorant. Now my dad, he's a world history teacher. He said that kind of stuff behind the scenes, but in public, he got along with white people and all that kind of stuff, and they thought he was funny, and you know what I'm saying. But a lot of people are just really, really ignorant, and schooling and good grades, a good job, and keep taking care of yourself and being clean is still not enough. So I'm thinking, why is my attitude? Maybe I'm just weird, but why is that not my attitude? And I'm in the ghetto with a messy house, and I can still understand that. And like my first babysitters, granted, I was in Hyde Park in Chicago. My first babysitters were Indian. Her names were Nisha and Ganal. So that's why I started eating Indian food, like not native Indian. And even back then, even saying people saying Indian, that bothered me if you're talking about Aboriginal. Like I just don't understand, why is it so hard for people to just, like, it wasn't until the 2000s in Chicago that after a while, and it was the men first that said, bro, this race shit don't matter. This gang shit don't matter. We're not doing colors. We're not doing this. This is stupid. The older generation sent us off. They keep playing in our face. And then whenever they want to turn around and make black people who are legitimately upset shut up, then they want to start talking about Martin Luther King. We don't want to talk about Martin Luther King then. We want to talk about Fred Hampton and all that. Don't want to talk about them. But then when it doesn't matter, then you want to start trying to be all extra black and trying to gatekeep, you know, interrace relationships and all this type of stuff, and then coming up with the term swirl and swirlers and all of this. It's like, but now it seems like it's black women that are setting the table. Like all the terms, swirler and even you know, big D. This is all women that's coming up. Men aren't coming up with none of this stuff. The only men that come up with any terms are the red pill guys, and the red pill guys and the pink pill community. They use the same language. They both like to say white zaddy. They both like to say they both use some of the same terms. And I'm almost wondering, is this some kind of CIA psyop shit? That's what I thought about the Trayvon Martin thing too. That's what I think about George Floyd. I think that was some CIA psyop shit, to be honest with you.
You know what's crazy, and what they don't understand is that behavior is not attractive to other races of men. And I say that because I date black and Hispanic men, right? And I've even had a Hispanic dude, and I've never been asked this until the whole swirler thing conversation happened and went mainstream.
Yeah.
He literally asked me, because he knew I had dated black guys before, and he literally asked me, are you just trying to date me because you couldn't find a good man, a good black man? It's like basically the question was put to me like I'm the second choice. Am I like the second choice? And I'm like, no, like what? And it's crazy because
Whoa.
I've dated Hispanic boys since I started liking boys. I've dated them, and then I've dated black boys, and I've dated them and dated black boys, and nobody ever asked me that question. But I'm like, these men are starting to hear this conversation, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them are feeling like, oh well, I'm just second choice, or she really rather be with a black guy. It's just, they're mad at the black men right now. It's crazy. So like
Yeah.
people are hearing this conversation, and it's not a good look, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, like, here's my whole thing with the whole dating out. I feel like people should date where you're most likely to find somebody who shares your values. That might not necessarily be within your own culture, but you have to
Yeah.
genuinely like, you know what I'm trying to say? You got to genuinely like them. Another thing too is everywhere you go, there you are. So the same internal problems that you have when you're dating black men, you gonna take that with you. A lot of times that's why I see these women who call themselves swirling or dating out. It's not a big deal. There's nothing wrong with it. But you will
Right.
see they go find the same characteristics that
Mm-hmm.
they were dating when they were dating black men. They will go find that when they're dating Hispanic, dating a white man. It's like you dating the same. You seem to find the same man in every race.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I see that too.
Mm-hmm.
Though what's advertised is that black women get the cream of the crop white guys while black men get the fat white girls. But I think that's partially because a lot of black dudes is broke. But and I'm making you probably don't understand what I'm talking about because you ain't up
No,
here.
I see what you're saying. I mean, I personally, okay.
Black women are winning, no question.
I'll say this: they are getting white when they date white men. Most of them are gonna go get a white man that has resources, right? Whether or not he's the cream of the crop in his own race, I don't know. But they are
Yeah.
going to get in the ones that have resources or share the same values. They do have fewer divorce rates. So it's something about that dynamic that is working. But I've also seen them go get with a Pookie and Ray white man, and then try to flaunt
Yeah.
it on social media. And it's like, ma'am, that is not a flex. Like, that is
No.
not a flex at all. Like, it's not a flex. So I think it just kind of depends, and I always encourage, I tell black women all the time, especially because it's causing feelings of bitterness. If you go date, expand your options. That don't mean stop dating black men. If you see one that you like, date them, right? But open it up, because what's happening when they were keeping it closed is they were getting angrier and angrier. It's like, I have this loyalty towards black men, so I don't want to explore my options, but I'm having a hard time finding somebody that even wants to get married. So it created this anger, this powder keg, so to speak. But I think the problem that's going on right now is they're saying they're divesting, and they're not truly divesting. It's like, if
But
y'all are
why
really
are they doing that though?
I don't know, because my whole thing is, if you're really happy dating out, why is every single one of your videos focused on talking bad about black men?
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's like intentionally, like, they make videos just to call black men dusty, this and that. And it's like, you're dating out. You don't even have to, like, if you feel like the black men were the problem, you don't even have to deal with it anymore. So what is the problem? Why do y'all keep talking about this? But my theory is that it makes the money, it pays the bills. So they're gonna keep talking about it because it sells.
And black women want to hear it. They want to see men go down. That's all they want. They just want to see somebody. They just want blood. They want blood. And I think there should be more topic. Okay, fine. You feel that way? Then why don't you give some advice? how do you deal with the family of the person that you're dating? You know what I mean? That's not talked about enough. You need to. There's no lessons. There's no precedent for that. Not enough precedent to even talk about that. You know, how do you deal with the family? How do you present yourself? How do you be a host or hostess for this person? Men have talked about this stuff a little bit. I don't see black women doing that enough. I see white women doing that in a very stereotypical, cliche type of way with the booty and twerking and all that, as opposed to trying to establish some kind of an understanding. That's why you notice when the white girls, they're like, oh yeah, and I know this person, and I know his cousin, and his uncle, and this is that. Plus, I dated his sister. Like, they go way too far and try to overly prove themselves, and yet not really understand. And I don't understand why that's the case as we go on in time. Like, if you would have told me when I was 18 that we would be having this conversation right now, I would say, what the hell? I must have been a futurist. Because I thought this conversation would have been done. We would have been figured out, all these educated people. And then to say black women are the most educated people in America, and we still have this issue going on. Either A, somebody's pushing this, or B, somebody's pushing this.
Let me tell you something. Here's the thing. I've said this before. I'm going to say this again. I went to college myself. College, to me, in my opinion, is not a measure of IQ. It is a measure of whether or not you can start something and finish it. And when I went to college, a lot of the times professors will work with you. Okay. So it is a measure of whether or not you can start something and finish it, whether or not you feel the economic or social pressure enough to start something and finish it. Anybody with an IQ above 75 who wants to go to college and finish college can go to college and finish college. It's whether or not you have the wherewithal to do that. So I don't know why people think that the most intelligent people go to college, because honestly and truly, when I went to college for political science, right? It's
Yeah, I
crazy
like that.
because before I went to college, but let me explain something to you. This is gonna blow your mind. So before I went to college, I've always been into politics, even when I was a teenager. And when people would tell me there's no point in voting, I would think these people are stupid, these people are lazy, it's a cop out. I went to college just to get to the end of my 4 years, just to go through that 2016 election. I graduated in 2016. And then just to have to go through 2020. And finally, it clicked. Wow. The people who were telling me there's no point in voting weren't the stupid ones. I was.
Wow, that's sad. That is
You get
really
it?
sad.
I went through all of that schooling just to finally come to the same conclusion that they had already came to. And that is when I realized that there's a lot of value in having common sense, having situational awareness, and having life experience.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the only reason why I might say that the only thing that has given me hope that there might be some value in voting is the fact that Trump won this last election, because I didn't think he was going to be able to pull it off.
Oh, I knew that he was going to win. Anybody paying attention to TV was going to win.
I didn't. It wasn't that I didn't think that the people weren't on his side. I didn't think the system would allow it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the right doesn't move like that. That's the left that moves like that. Or the so-called left.
Yeah,
They
but
move
then
like that.
yeah, but when you have to go up against them in a national election, let's think back to COVID and those mail-in ballots. Let's think about how Trump was winning, and then we all went to sleep and woke up, and all of a sudden Joe Biden is the winner.
Well, I knew Joe Biden would win, but ultimately, if it wasn't for COVID, he would have got Trump would have got reelected. But COVID was too much, and all the COVID leaders got booted out. Kind of like the finance, those things that happen where anybody who's in power, when this happens, they got to go. It's just that the reason Justin Trudeau didn't get booted out is because, according to the global standards. Canada was one of the best countries when it came to handling COVID. Ontario ranked one of the worst because we have Doug Ford. But the people were like, yeah, Doug Ford, he's trying to stand on business, whatever, right? Because he's conservative. And I think that's the reason why Trump, other than that, Trump should have won in 2020. And now that think back of it, the election was stolen, but the energy and the numbers were on the dim side. But he should have won that election, to be honest with you. But COVID kind of messed him up.
I feel like I'm side eyeing those mail-in ballots. I feel like that was an excuse. Like I feel like that was that was the reason. Like that was the justification for a stolen election. Personally, I don't believe in mail-in ballots. They're illegal in many countries for those reasons, right? So I don't believe in mail-in ballots. What I will say, and this don't have anything to do with the rest of the nation. When Donald Trump started his presidency, I did not like him at all. And it's because everything the media said about him. And of course, I was a huge Bernie Sanders supporter. So I wanted Bernie Sanders to win.
Yeah.
By the end of his term, though, I was indifferent to him. I was impartial because I had spent 4 years under him and we were fine. And then the Democrats started acting crazy during COVID in terms of those like in terms of the mask
mandates,
mask mandates and all that. Then all of the visceral reaction for the Dems. So by the time the election came in 2020, I wouldn't say that I went either way. I know Joe Biden didn't deserve to win because of how they did Bernie Sanders in the primary.
Right.
So
How Barack Obama was involved in that.
Yeah, but I wasn't necessarily rooting for Donald Trump to win. And I would imagine there were a lot of people who might not have liked Donald Trump at the start of his first term, who by the end got to it and was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind, or were just so pissed at the Dems that they wouldn't have mind. We were pissed. We were pissed.
Yes,
we were
pissed.
I was pissed.
Yeah.
At that point, I wanted Trump to win. I wouldn't say I wanted him to win, but I wouldn't have minded him winning just off of revenge.
Yeah, to punish them for doing that. That's exactly how, and I feel like that right now, that the Dems need to get smacked in order to learn their lesson. So if you have to,
they're not gonna learn it.
I think a lot of people will. That's why I watched another vlog I watched is Sabi Sobs. That's who my main political person is. And I like Lee Camp and all them.
I don't think they're gonna learn it just out of the fact that they still trying to argue that Kamala Harris should have been the president. They still arguing that she ran a good campaign.
Ew.
They still saying that people didn't vote for Kamala Harris because she was a black woman. I literally have people on my timeline on Facebook all the time saying this. Ooh, we wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for the fact that y'all just can't handle a black woman being the president. Are you serious?
A fake black woman.
So,
and as a matter of fact, when
these are educated people saying this.
Honest to God, that's so disgusting. HBCUs at that. That's why I'm against black excellence, because of Jay-Z, Diddy, Steve Stout, Obama, and those people. Because you see what they do. You see when it come down to the details. You see what they do.
Yeah, and it's all about the title. Like they don't care about the policies of the person. Just as long as we put a black face in front of it and we can say this person is black, then black people are expected to publish support. Then it's black excellence. What about the actual policy? What about the actual character? Why would I want a woman to represent me and she ducked all that smoke? She couldn't even go on Joe Rogan and do an interview. Like Trump went and let Joe Rogan ask him whatever he wanted to ask him. And he did a long form interview and he was was open. Kamala Harris didn't want to interview with Joe Rogan because she didn't want to interview at his studio. She had a list of things that he couldn't ask and he would not agree to it.
Yeah.
And she only wanted to give him I think it was an hour or less than an hour. And he was like, no, I don't interview anybody like that.
Yeah, it's a 3 hour, and people needed to get to know her, so she could have used that 3 hours. That'd have been perfect for her.
Well, that's why Trump and Rogan originally had beef, because during the 2020 election, Trump wanted to interview with Rogan, but Rogan was like, I'm not gonna only do an hour with you. I don't interview. He said the same thing to Donald Trump in 2020. I'm not gonna just do an hour. If you're gonna interview with me, you're gonna interview the way that I interview. And I'm not,
Yeah.
you can't tell me what I can and cannot ask. Like, what are you talking about here? Trump came around, got some sense, realized it would be beneficial, got in his studio and did the interview the way Joe Rogan wanted him to do the interview. But why would I want a woman to be the president who always has to get interviewed in a way that is so staged? You can't answer questions. All the conditions have to be right for you to thrive. And even then, she's just not a skilled politician. She doesn't have the
No.
talent that a Trump or an Obama has. Obama had
No.
charisma. She just don't got it. So it's like you can't be fake and not have charisma. You got to choose one.
Yeah, and she flip flops too much. She says she was against fracking in the Democratic primary in 2020, but then turned around and said she's for it because she wanted to get that funding. And on top of the fact, so I don't think she has any real policies. I think she slept her way to the top. Shout out Willie Brown. And
Shout out. Yeah.
and you know, and I also think that, like I said she reminds me of a character in a Tyler Perry or Kenya Barrett spoon film, where she's she acts exactly like that. The greens in your tub. Like if you had to find, you know, like how in the movie ATL, how T.I.'s Lauren London was like this snobby, this rich girl who was trying to hang with the black folks. That's
Mm-hmm.
who Kamala Harris would be in that kind. She would be like, if they could continue the movie and make it all the way to, you know, Lauren London running for president, and then talking about greens in your tub. That's Kamala Harris. That's exactly who she is. She's so fake. She's Canadian on top of that. And as Candace Owens pointed out, her family is one of the biggest slave owners in Jamaica. They were one of the biggest slave
That's
owners
what
in
I
Jamaica.
heard. But I've heard a lot of these people have connections. Like a lot of these people's families have old connections.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. Like that these presidents aren't just popping up and they don't come from no type of money or connections, you know? I'm not
Yeah.
sure how true that is, but that's what I've heard. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just, it's mind baffling, you know. I had people upset with me or don't like me to this day because of the way I felt about that election. And honestly and truly, I have my criticisms of Donald Trump.
Yeah. The stupid ass chair.
Especially in the dealing with, well, I think long run the tariffs will do some good. I know it probably sucks dealing with it right now. I'm not there to deal with it, so I definitely have empathy, right?
I'm
Um,
cheating.
but here in Colombia, that's what I was saying before you came on, or were you already on here? Here in Colombia, they have tariffs on a lot of imported goods. So, you know, I guess people here are just used to tariffs.
Well, I'm Canadian, so Canadians are wondering why is all of a sudden Americans treating their friends like this? Like, this is bogus. Like, don't treat us like that. But I think that Trump wants to wait until the conservatives take power, and then he's going to reverse the bias on Canada because he does not respect Trudeau. He thinks Trudeau is a lame, and Mark Carney is the same.
But
So I think that's what Trump's
a,
doing to Canada.
a lot of Canadians don't like Trudeau, though, right?
Oh
Is he
no, no,
popular?
hell no. That's why he's not prime minister no more. He
Hmm.
stepped down.
Okay,
And
yeah,
then there's
I
going to be an
remember
election
that.
next month. Yeah, there's going
I
to be an
I
election.
feel
Mark,
like
Mark
all of them.
Carney.
I feel like all of them were on the same type of time. I feel like Trudeau, Biden, a lot of these world leaders, they were all on the same type of time and
Yeah.
did a lot of harm to their country. And now you have the Trumps and the Malays and the Bukalays and what's that guy's name? The prime minister in Poland who are stepping up and
Oh,
they're trying to do no more.
dang. Are you talking about the prime minister of Poland or Hungary?
In Poland, the one where they don't allow, like if you try to go Poland, like if you try to go into their country illegally, if you try to step over that border, they will shoot you.
Oh shit. They play like
They
that.
don't. It's the safest country in Europe.
Mm-mm.
And they say the reason why it's the safest country is because they have not allowed this huge wave of illegal immigration in their population to be replaced. Like they're having huge problems in the UK right now. And
Yeah.
all of Europe actually. Poland is the only country where they are not having those issues.
Well, Europe is broke in general.
Yeah. And Poland is safe. You can walk down the streets at night. They don't have a huge rate of violent crime, none of that. And the EU has
Yeah.
criticized them. They say it's wrong, it's xenophobic, has criticized them for not allowing any type of illegal immigration into their country, but they don't care. They're like, there's a reason why y'all are going through it and we're not. But yes,
Well,
they
my
will
mom was to
they will
Poland. She
shoot
said
you
she
if you
loved
try to
it.
cross.
My mom went to Poland with the church choir, and she said she loved it.
Yeah. From what I've seen, it looks beautiful. And the expats that I know have traveled there have said it's really beautiful. It's really safe. It's a good mix of like Eastern European culture, because it's different. Their culture is more similar to like Asians than what you would think. So that's what I've heard. But yeah, you try to cross that fence, shoot on sight.
Wow.
They'll warn you, but if you try to get through the barrier, they're shooting you.
That's wow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that they should have, because honest to God, like if they could seal up the southern border of Mexico, I wouldn't care if there was open borders between Canada and America and Mexico. Like we're all family and cousins, the way I look at it. So Americans go back and forth to Mexico and America. Americans go back and forth to America and Canada. So I wouldn't mind if there was open borders between America and Canada. Like we're friends. You know what I mean? We cool with each other. But the problem is that a lot of these migrants are not coming from Mexico necessarily. They're coming from all
They're
over
coming
the
from
place.
the north. Yeah. And it's not just Mexicans coming back and forth between, like it's so much. And Canada can't control the flow of illegal immigrants trying to cross their border, and Mexico can't. And it's just, but them Polish people, baby, they are not playing. And literally what happened that triggered that law is that illegal immigrant was trying to cross the border. They caught him, and he took a spear and threw it through the gate and unalived one of the Polish soldiers. So, like after that,
Oh,
Congress passed Congress passed the law to shoot them if they try to cross the border.
dang. That's wow. That's crazy. And
Mm-hmm.
how does Colombia, like, how is you guys' relationship with Venezuela? Well, I shouldn't call you guys, but I guess Colombia's your country too. How do you guys deal with Venezuela?
It's so crazy how people try to make illegal immigration a race thing, or people don't like Latinos thing, when it's literally just national security. Because Colombian people, first of all, there are a lot of Venezuelans here. So you meet Colombians who don't mind that they're here, but then you meet a lot that don't like that they're here. There are a lot of Colombians that don't like Venezuelan people. There are a lot of Colombians that are upset about the illegal immigration that has come to this country. They're upset that they have to compete for jobs. So you hear the same things coming from Colombians that working class Americans say.
But don't
And
the other Colombian, sorry, go ahead, sorry.
go ahead.
No, because I was going to ask is this, right? Because this is
Mhm.
what irritates me. We never hear the conversation about this is the progressive in me coming out. Why is this happening? Because American corporate imperialism, corporate colonialism is causing this. For example, Venezuela, they're rich in oil, but yet they're putting sanctions and embargoes on them because
Well,
they're trying to
no,
take
no,
out their
no.
government.
That's not necessarily how Colombians see it. And I'm gonna tell you why, because it's more to it.
Sorry, that's messed up.
Does America play a role in some of this? Yes. And I used to think we played a bigger role than what we actually did till I moved down here. So the way Colombian people have explained it to me is that when Chavez was in office, well, basically for a long time, Venezuela Venezuela was like the America of South America. And all of this was propped up on oil prices. So they had a lot of socialism. It was like they was just giving them money. They was like the Venezuelans would come to Colombia and spend so much money. And they had a
Yeah.
lot of social programs. They had a lot of like, a lot of things were given to them. It was a very like socialist kind of country.
I
So
like that.
basically what happened is the price of the oil dropped though. So it's like you have a country that's overspending. The government is spending so much money. It's all based on oil. They don't have anything else going for them. They don't have a very mixed economy. So all of a sudden the prices of oil drop and now you cannot continue to fund the government at the rate that you were because the prices of oil have dropped. So that's not necessarily the fault of the United States. I have yet to hear a Colombian person blame the United States for what happened in Venezuela.
Really?
No, they don't.
That's crazy.
They blame
Because
it
we
all on
do know them.
they blame it all on Chavez.
That's wow. But then again, Colombia gets a lot of money from the U.S. So Colombia, I don't want to call Colombia a U.S. puppet, but the presidents of Colombia, ever since Pablo Escobar, have pretty much been pro-U.S. presidents, and they get America trains the Colombia's military, built it up, and so I don't want to go there, but it's like that's crazy because we
I
know
don't
for a fact America puts sanctions and embargoes that it keeps messing with Venezuela a lot, just like Cuba.
I don't think that I don't necessarily think that because Colombian people will criticize the United States when they want to criticize the United States. It's not that. I think it's kind of like they're the neighbor of Venezuela. So they see things that we don't see. They see spending habits, they see behaviors, and they see cultural values that we don't necessarily get to see. So they have a different perspective. I'm not gonna like hold you. A lot of Colombians have very negative feelings towards Venezuelans. They're not the most
Wow.
popular group of people over here.
Hmm. How do
They
they feel
not
about Brazilians and all that then?
I don't really hear them say anything about Brazilians, to be honest. But
Okay, okay, okay.
as far as Venezuelans, the majority that I will talk to, they don't like Venezuelans.
Wow. Okay, because Trump criticizes Venezuela's of the socialism all the time. And what
They
progressives, like Tom Hartman, will say was, no, 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 don't look at them because you guys keep messing with them. Look at socialism like in the Nordic countries, like Denmark and Sweden. That's what
the
we
Col-
look. Go ahead.
the Colombians feel the same way. They feel like that the reason why their economy is the way that it is because of their socialist policies, and a lot of Colombians don't want those policies in their country.
Hmm. They don't have free healthcare in
You
Colombia?
No. It's I mean, well, they do to an extent, right? So here's the thing about Colombia. So they do have like if you go to the doctor, they're gonna treat you, right? They do have free health care. Their health care is low. They have more affordable options than us. So yes, but they don't have as many social programs as what we have in the United States. So like they have public school, but there's no such thing as like social security here, or there's no
Wow.
such thing as um what is that called? Food stamps or
What?
something like that here. No.
Canada has a welfare program though. It's that's better than America,
No,
I
yeah,
think.
they don't have half the welfare programs that in Colombia they don't have half the welfare programs that are in America.
Wow.
They
Poverty
don't even
must
have
be.
any they don't have really don't have any welfare programs. I mean, if you consider public school a welfare program, but if you have money, then you send your kid to private school here.
I don't consider public school a welfare program. I consider that a basic right necessity.
Yeah, but 20 years ago, that wasn't really a thing here in Colombia. 20, 30 years ago, that wasn't a thing.
That's crazy. So Colombia is pretty. So
It's
is
a
Colombia?
developing. Hmm?
Oh, Is it Colombia like a conservative country?
I think it's about half and half. I would say that. But I feel like even their liberals aren't as liberal as the liberals in the United States. But I would say cultural values here are far more conservative. People think that it's not because the passport bros have made uh sex tourism so popular, but that's such a small demographic of the population that participates in that. And honestly and
Really?
truly, the average Colombian doesn't like that. They don't want to see that. They don't want to be around that. If
Wow.
you
So how
ask them,
much
they'll
coke is
say,
out there?
"Huh?
So how much coke do you see people doing? Are they doing coke enough?
I don't really see people doing coke." I feel like if you go inside of like, because I'm on the outskirts of Medellin in a really like, so this area is even more conservative. It's very well developed, but they're very old school family values. But if you go in Medellin, a lot of them are on a lot of people, the young people are doing this drug called Tussie.
Hmm.
hmm
That is
But it's
interesting.
but even then, you'll see grottos, and you'll see Virgin Mary statues everywhere all around the city. There's a Catholic church on every corner. People be in the Catholic church. They not empty. They be in the church. Okay. Like yeah, it's very, it's I would say it's way more conservative than the United States. I say that.
Wow. I think America's conservative.
Mm, you got to think about it. Here, they're more about family values. Here, family is more unified. They're more about family values. America is more about individualism.
That's true. That is very true. America don't care about family values at all.
Yes, here they're very family value oriented. And so, I
Canada
mean,
appears even less.
there is some stuff that's a little odd to me here, being from Texas. For example, there's the main Catholic church here in Parque Envigado. At the same time that church is open, right across the street is a casino. And me personally, I've never seen that before in my life because I'm from Texas. Casinos aren't even allowed. And if they were allowed, I'm pretty sure that there would be zoning laws to where you couldn't put it by a church.
That's interesting.
But then at the
Okay.
same, the casino be full, but the Catholic church be full too.
That is very interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Because I'm thinking Colombia, I'm thinking like if I ever go visit Colombia, I'm gonna get bucked. I'm gonna be getting like, I'm gonna be whatever. I'm thinking it's gonna be like a big cocaine economy. There's gonna be hella
You can.
socialists.
I wouldn't advise that. If Here's the thing about Colombia. If you want to come out here and act a fucking fool, there are places for you to do that here. But just living locally, like the real Colombia, is a lot more conservative than that.
Hmm.
Coming here as a tourist and living like a local are two completely different things.
Now, is there a difference between Bogota and Medellin and say I forget the other city in
I'm going to
Colombia.
Bogota this summer, but from what I've heard, okay, so from what people are telling me, Bogota is more business oriented. It's more white than Medellin, and um, they call them rolos. So here in this part of Colombia, they're paisas.
Hmm.
So they call their different groups. Like if you're from the coast, you're a costeño. So they have different names from whatever part. But from what everybody says, Rolos don't like anybody from the rest of Colombia. They don't like paisas. They don't like costeños. Um, from the Venezuelans that I've talked to, that's where they get treated the worst. They're more cold. Like here in Medellin, the people are really warm and friendly. Everybody knows in Colombia, even if you go to the coast, that the people here in Medellin are very sweet. Paisas are very sweet people. But
Hmm.
everybody else says that Rolos are very cold and not open.
Wow. Okay.
hmm
Now, were you shocked by how conservative Colombia was, or did you think you could go there and be able to do what you want to do?
No, I wasn't shocked by how conservative it was because um I don't know, I've been around Hispanics for a long time. So I know like with Hispanics, they're very much a time and place kind of culture, you know?
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
regardless of like which country they come from, for the most part, they are definitely a time and place kind of culture. So I know they got that side of them that they can get down, but then there's also respect family, you know?
Mhm. That is
So no,
true. That's
I
very big
wasn't
on you, sir.
necessarily shocked. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, but what really shocked me is that you said how conservative they are economically, because socially, I guess they wouldn't want to have a wild ass country where everybody's doing what they want to do, and it's a cocaine economy. So drug guys and what they call them, sicarios run everything. So I guess you're telling me it's not that. So I guess the crime is not out of control. But I'm shocked it's not as socialist economically, governmentally as I would think South and Central America would be.
No, no, actually that's not a common thing here. Like in South America, I think most of the economies are not socialist economies here.
And that's not because the U.S. puts. I know in Argentina, the leader of Argentina, he's right wing. I like who was that? The president of Argentina, Gabriela. Jag, I can't remember
Millet,
her name.
Javier Millet.
Well, no,
Javier Millet.
but who's the lady? The lady and her husband, Kushner, or whatever, Kirchner
Where?
in Argentina.
In Argentina, the president is Millet right now.
Yeah, I know it's lame right now because he's a pro-Trump guy, and he's uh letting Elon Musk take a lot of the not tungsten, the what is that they need for the batteries? Um, in
Cobalt.
Argentina,
No? Is it cobalt? What do they have? I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely a resource they need for the battery, lithium.
Lithium. Okay.
Yeah, and so I know the president is letting Elon Musk have as much lithium as he, from what I see, because I watch left-wing publications, not MSNBC, but
Mhm.
the right-wing president of Argentina, he's letting Elon Musk and Donald Trump take all of his lithium.
Yeah, he's
So
chosen to align himself because originally they were trying to move towards the BRICS, but when Malay got in office, he's chosen to align himself with the United States.
and specifically Donald Trump, because
Yeah, specifically him. Yeah, if it would have been anybody else, I don't see him aligning with us.
that's kind of interesting.
You said what? Oh, Jamal, you could have. What'd you say?
Yeah, because somebody was calling, but
Okay.
yeah, I definitely could see like socially how they would be more conservative. You know what I mean? Like I remember I've dated people. They like, listen, we don't do that in our culture, okay? And I understand me being a Black American and from Chicago, we're as ignorant as they come. So I expect that everybody else is going to be more decent than where I come from. And I'm in Ontario, so I expect everybody's going to be more sturdy on values than what Ontario. No, no, race doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's whatever is whatever. While at the same time, celebrate everybody's culture except for ours. When it's what's for Chinese people, for Chinese people, what's for gay people, what's for Black people, is for everybody. That's
Mm-hmm.
an issue up here. But what I noticed, and I know Latinos can be racist, but I kind of understand their racism. I get it, so I'm not mad at it unless I really want their women. But other than that, like I understand it, but I'm shocked that it's a degree to how much the South American countries are willingly conservative, even economically. Because I'm under the impression they all want to be socialist and they can all have their resources and it's just throwing, they're making it rain. And the only reason they're not making it rain is because the U.S. and corporations are going through there and taking their resources and say, you need this kind of government, and the IMF is putting them in debt. That's what I'm under the impression of. But now it sounds like what you're telling me is people are serious about fiscal responsibility.
Yeah, they are serious about fiscal responsibility. They really are. They really are. When you can always tell when Colombian feel like you splurge your money, they're gonna look at you like, what's going on? Another thing that they do here is they fix their things when they break. They fix their thing, and they have the mindset: the government is not coming to save me. So all of that one-time wear and tear, one-time wear stuff, that's not as common here. And then, if their clothes tear, they go take it to the lady, the tailor, to go get fixed. If their shoes tear, they go take it to the shoe shop to go get fixed.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're very fiscally conservative here.
Wow. Okay. So is that now? Have you heard that way for some of the other South American countries too, or are they a little bit more socialist, like the Chile's and places like that?
Um, I just haven't heard anything like. Maybe I need to do more research because, like, I have yet to hear anything that's giving socialism,
Hmm.
except for Venezuela. And then you got to understand, for them, Venezuela is the example. We don't want to be like Venezuela.
Oh
That is the
wow.
message. We don't want to be like Venezuela.
Okay, so I guess the U.S. is more on point than I thought. Then.
Yes, their mentality is more. 'Cause you got to understand, this is their neighbor, and they're having to deal with the consequences, and they're having to deal with the illegal immigration. They have a different perspective. You got to understand the illegal immigration trade starts in Colombia. So they know all the horrors that go on that route there. First of all, you can't even get on route to come to the United States unless you got money to pay your way. If you don't pay your way, you got to sell your kids. Maybe you got to sell a kid to a cartel. Maybe you got to let them sleep with your kid. Like, it's so much horrific stuff that goes on, but everybody knows that this goes on, right? You got to work for you got to be a slave for the cartel when you get to the United States. So it's kind of like everybody sees what is going on with the Venezuelans and what happened, and they're like, "Nah, we don't want to be Venezuela."
Oh wow, that's horrible. And I guess my mistake for mixing South America up with Central America, like the Nicaraguas and Belize's and all of that, because
Oh, I
they
don't know
probably
anything about that.
yeah, and Panama and all that. They probably do have a different mentality. Those countries are socialist. A lot of them, like their leaders are socialists, and the U.S.
Yeah.
does mess with them. But now that I come to think about it, since the '70s, U.S. don't really mess with South America like that. They don't really be messing with their governments like that.
No, not really. They have a liberal president right now here in Colombia, and I don't have an opinion of him either which way. I don't know too much about his policies or politics, but what I will say is I have yet to hear a Colombian say anything positive about him.
Dag. Wow.
Hmm. Hmm. And I don't want to
Is
say
it
too
more
much because
fun?
I'm a guest here in this country. You never know
Yeah.
who's watching, but that's all I will say. That's all I will say.
Wow. Have they had a woman president yet?
No, but they have a I don't know if they've had a woman president. I don't know. They have a woman vice president right now. She's actually a black woman, like a full black woman. Her name is Francia Marquez.
Oh, okay. So he's like an Afro Colombian.
Yeah, but she's like, you look at her, if you saw her in the United States, you would be like, okay, this is somebody's, like, she's a dark skinned black woman with kinky hair.
Okay, okay. I love that.
Hmm.
I don't know what her policies are yet, but I mean, I love that though. How did your daughter like going to school in Colombia? Or do you think she liked it better there or United States?
Um, well, I homeschool her now. Of
Hmm.
course, she misses her friends from school, but she's doing better in terms of her subjects because she gets one-on-one attention.
Hmm. Okay. My kids were homeschooled a little bit when they were living with my mom, and my mom's homeschooled my little brother and sister. But I
Hmm.
don't actually know what that's really like though. And the
Well,
only thing that scares me is that I feel like it gets creepy and you won't know how to deal with people and other kids or whatever. But
well,
I had
well,
this
she
advantage.
well she goes outside and plays at the playground here, and there's always kids that she plays with, and we have a homeschool group of homeschool parents that are both Colombian and immigrants, and we meet on Wednesday, so they do homeschool field trips So she'll have a homework assignment that goes with that. So she interacts with other kids. There are
Okay.
plenty of activities that you can enroll your kids in to do. So it's like it's not that they don't ever see other kids or learn how to interact with other kids. It's just they don't have any distractions when it's time to do schoolwork. You know, you got to think of it
Mm,
like that.
okay, because I know my kids they went to a actual they had a track event for homeschool kids.
Hmm.
So, but they only did it for a little while. Then they went to a Christian school, and they Christian school was like, no, we can't deal with those. Like they were, I hate to say it, but they said they were kind of meant for the not for the streets, but they're they're rebellious. They're definitely they're super duper 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 urban Gen Z. Let's just say that. Like my daughter's a
Urban Gen Z. Okay.
yeah, my daughter is the way if you met her, she is that very much like a mixture of suburban white girls and black girls in the hood back in the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
like just after the crack epidemic. Like if you knew how those kind of girls were, she's exactly like that. So
Wow.
so she's used to talking to grown ups. She will say what her opinion is. Uh, you know, if if it gets to a place where they feel like they can kind of so we say take advantage or this is their time, whatever, they will, just like in the 80s during the crack epidemic, we're like, listen, bro, we don't care what you old folks got to say. So they say almost things that's blasphemous, where it's like, you can't talk to the older generation. Listen, man, it's our time right now. We taking over this shit. They have that kind of
I
attitude.
understand. I
So
understand. I understand.
they're very much like Gen X. So it gets so we're like best friends, but it gets really tough. So I like I'm glad to learn and hear from this is very educational. And
Yeah,
so
yeah. But I will say this, Jamal. I'm gonna have to get off because I
yeah,
need to take a
absolutely.
nap, and I promised to take my daughter to the park today. So I gotta take me a little nap. But I'm glad you came up. Next time I think I'm gonna do a call-in show on Friday too. So I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'll let y'all know.
Okay. All right. And whatever happens at Saturday live, you let us know. But yeah, get back to what you're doing. My bad.
Okay, no, no, don't worry, don't worry. But yeah, I will see. I'm coming on. What tomorrow's Friday? Well, shoot, I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna do a call-in show again tomorrow if you want to pull up.
Okay. No problem. No problem. Thanks a lot. All right.
You're welcome, and thank you for coming up. Thank you for contributing. All right,
God bless.
y'all. God bless you too. Y'all, I'm gonna get up off of here. It's been real. Y'all have a good evening.